All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Saturday, April 23rd, 2022. Fittingly, today would have been Timothy McVeigh's birthday, the man blamed for the Oklahoma City building bombing of April 19th, 1995. And what we're going to talk about in this video is how Oklahoma City is connected to September 11th, how it's the same CIA controlled by the Jesuit cabal that's responsible for both incidents, and how the riddle is truly biblical, connected through Nimrod, who's known for building the Tower of Babel. Of course, that story ends with Genesis 11:9, the way the majority of the world writes the date, the 11th of September. The Tower of Babel, the tower to divide the people of the world. Of course, 9/11 was a very divisive day, divided millions, probably billions of people along religious lines. And with regards to Oklahoma City, it happened just after Easter, which is related with Tammuz, who is the son of Nimrod. And what I just learned from being in Oklahoma City is the Catholic Church that was partially destroyed directly across the street from the bombing, they put up a statue a number of years later. It is a statue in tribute to Jesus, and it's titled, "And Jesus Wept." The actual verse in the Bible is just, "Jesus wept." We'll get to why they added an "and" in front of it. But the statue is from when the Romans sacked Jerusalem and Jesus cried. And the story is that a queen, once upon a time, she cried, and that resurrected Tammuz, parallel to Jesus. So we're going to bring this all together. And by the end of this presentation, it'll be absolutely undeniable who is really responsible for the attacks of September 11th and Oklahoma City, as well as so many other major events that have happened in history to steer the path of the people of the world towards things such as warfare and giving up rights and liberties and, helping establish a surveillance state. Before we get into this, though, I want to send a special thank you to this man right here, Chris Emery. He came out and met us in Oklahoma City the morning of April 19th. It was a unsuspected surprise. This man has made a film himself about Oklahoma City. He's part of a team who made the film, I should say. It's called A Nobile Lie. It's been banned on Amazon and Netflix. We'll get to why it was banned on the 25th anniversary of Oklahoma City, the city that sits on the 97th meridian west, which of course is the 25th prime number. The same Jesuits who run your CIA also run your National Football League. Don't forget what they did in the 97th NFL season. They moved the touchback to 25 yards. That year the Super Bowl was on 2/5, and that good Catholic Tom Brady had the 25-point comeback over the Falcons. Again, it's all related. So we'll bring it all together. He was perplexed about why his film was banned on the 25th anniversary of the attack. Again, when you learn the way these Jesuits operate, these numerologists, it's not hard to see. And by the way, it was Amazon that led the banning, and of course Amazon's Jeff Bezos is a Jesuit puppet front for the Jesuit fascist company that is Amazon. But of course in Gematria, Amazon equals 25, like Pope, like Earth, which he rules over. And as we'll get to, both events, Oklahoma City, 9/11, clearly synced with the Pope. It was the same Pope at the time, John Paul II, the same Pope who replaced the 33-day Pope, the one who went to bed on the Jesuit order's birthday and never woke up again, the one who said he was going to clean the mob up out of the Vatican Bank. But before we get into this man right here, he came out, he introduced himself. As the day went on, he saw that we had quite a group come out, and he gave us a massive tour around Oklahoma City, pointing out the things that happened on April 19th, and revealed a lot of facts from his research that were in his film, showing how Timothy McVeigh was a CIA asset, and there's no way the official story adds up. It makes no sense on any level. And of course, it's the same thing with September 11th, 2001. And the same thing with so many stories that were fed in the nightly news that are made to scare us and, again, give up our rights and liberties and lead us down the path of agendas that essentially put more power, more control, more money in certain people's pockets while we get the short end of the stick. And if you would like to support this man's work, mostly what he's done is banned out there. He does have a PayPal that remains up, and hopefully that stays up. We know they like to take those down as well for people putting out truth. But if you're one of the people that came out to Oklahoma City and you'd like to send something back to Chris, his PayPal donation is okctruth@cox.net. If you've ever sent money to someone on PayPal, again, you put in their email address. What he uses for his PayPal account is okctruth@cox.net. And yeah, I know my voice sounds a little bit rough. I think it's because I hardly got any sleep in the last week. I was pretty much up the whole time I was down there. And at the end of the day, I got to admit, it was 4:20, and the truth crowd was doing the puff, puff, pass thing, so I think the vocals got a little rough as well. But altogether, from being there, it's brought together my best research to date. And you're going to see in this video, I've put out a lot of really convincing, dead-on information over the years, a lot of accurate predictions from understanding how these people operate. But what I'm about to show you right here, again, it's unprecedented, and it's thanks to people like Chris Emery, all the other truth seekers who came out. A lot of people came out in Oklahoma City and shared very valuable information. And just from being there on the ground and getting to see things with my own eyes, it helped me connect even more dots. And like we've always said, who's behind these rituals are the Jesuits who control the federal government and things like the CIA, and who work on behalf of the Catholic Church. And these people are a pagan sun cult. And it couldn't be any more clear after this presentation that this is exactly what's going on. The work's been spot on, and it's never been more spot on than after bringing all this together. And we're also going to talk about AT&T. I need to do more research on AT&T. We know they're huge with the 9/11 ritual. Their building overlooks the Oklahoma City bombing site. I drove down the road to Dallas, where JFK was assassinated. Guess what building overlooks that site? The AT&T building. AT&T, that's going to be the next video I do probably after this will probably be whatever follow-up research I haven't done yet on AT&T. But let's start right here. So Chris Emery, who's a brilliant researcher, and just before I go any further, his film that he's a major part of, he's the narration, he's one of the key researchers, A Nobile Lie, which he did not title the film. The main director titled the film, and I'll get to what's interesting about the film title. It's very likely a synchronicity. It's interesting. It's named after Plato's A Noble Lie, which we'll get to. But, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something complimentary about Chris. I was also going to say that Chris, he contends that it was truly, he believes it's the Clinton crime family who's mostly behind Oklahoma City. In some ways, absolutely. The Clintons are very much part of the Jesuit network. The governor at the time of the Oklahoma City building bombing was Keating, who was Jesuit educated at Georgetown. And then, of course, you got Bill Clinton and Hillary, who also went to Georgetown. And again, that's the nation's first Jesuit university in what's now Washington, D.C., the federal city, which is the Jesuit Masonic city. Of course, at the Oklahoma City site on the Memorial campus is the Masonic Temple. Remember, modern Freemasonry was a Jesuit creation created June 24th, 1717 in the banking district of London. And, of course, London's a major Jesuit stronghold. You know it's over the Prime Minister's door at 10 Downing Street. You have the Jesuit Order's logo right above the door at 10 Downing Street. So, again, the more you look, the more you find the Jesuits. But here's the thing. Bill Clinton, who was president at the time of the Oklahoma City bombing, Bill Clinton, who left office just before the 9/11 attack where George W. Bush came in. And remember, before Clinton was George H.W. Bush, the father, who was the director of the CIA, also vice president and president. But all three of those men went to Yale. The two Bushes are publicly members of Skull and Bones, which is modeled after the Knights Templar, another Catholic organization. The Knights of Columbus are also in New Haven, Connecticut, another Catholic organization. But in all likelihood, Bill Clinton was a member of Skull and Bones as well. That one's not public, but when it only makes sense, he's blanketed by both Bushes who are in the fraternity. He also went to Yale and is Jesuit educated. I mean, It's not much of a leap to think he was. But here's the thing. From the day that Bill Clinton took office as president, January 20th, 93, shortly after that, we had the Waco attack. And of course, Timothy McVeigh supposedly blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City in vengeance of Waco. But really, all of these are part of an ongoing, interconnected story. But notice, from the day that Clinton took office to the bombing was exactly 117 weeks later. From the day that Clinton took office as president to the bombing in Oklahoma City, exactly 117 weeks. And from his August 19th birthday to the attack was exactly 243 days. Now, where have we talked about 243 and 117 about 1,000 times? Again, in Gematria, the simple practice of coding numbers into words. This is the language our federal government works by day after day after day. I mean, every single thing they do, and that's not an exaggeration, every single thing they do, this simple code, every single day, you can see right through their actions because it's all A, B, C is 1, 2, 3. And again, where I learned this was from Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. He reveals 2 ciphers in his book, the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. And also the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So A is still 1, B is still 2, C is still 3. Where it changes when you get to J, the 10th letter. The numerology of 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1. So J, when you use numerology cipher, which is the dark blue cipher, instead of J being 10, it becomes 1. K, the 11th letter, becomes 1 plus 1 is 2. L, the 12th letter, 12 becomes 1 plus 2 is 3. So L is 3. All the way up to Z, the 26th letter, becomes 2 plus 6 is 8. So Z is 8. So when you write out Central Intelligence Agency with the alphabetic order, it's 243. The attack came 243 days after Clinton's birthday. And when you write out Central Intelligence Agency with numerology, it equals 117. And it came exactly 117 weeks after he became president of the United States. And again, because these rituals are so perfect day after day, whether it's, H.W. in office or Bill Clinton in office or Bush II in office, who I like to call King George II. And don't forget, Yale equals 43. He became number 43 in Florida, which equals 43, where his brother was the 43rd governor and his daddy was the 43rd vice president. And Skull and Bones is 41, like his daddy was number 41. And of course, Jesuit and Freemason are both 42, and Clinton was number 42. And in the Masonic temple directly behind the memorial, there's a statue in the lobby of the building called Bloodline, and it has 42 people in it. You know what I mean? But anyway. So far, we've established this, right? Central Intelligence Agency, federal, national intelligence synced up with the face of the federal government, Bill Clinton, right? And in the CIA's logo is Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America. That's the words in their logo. Remember, those words, when you use that alphabetic order and rules numerology, equals 201. And the CIA was established September 18th, 47, 201 days after Pope Pius XII's March 2nd birthday. And let's not forget Catholic Pope equals 201, right? So with regards to 201 with the World Trade Centers, it's obvious, right? There were 2 towers that became 0, became 1, right? But with regards to Oklahoma City, let's just go through the list of 201s. And remember, our friend Chris Emery, in his documentary, he pulls up the information that shows that Timothy McVeigh was on the CIA payroll, okay? On the payroll. So there can be no doubt that the CIA was involved in this. But in Gematria, National Intelligence is 201. That's what the CIA is, right? Timothy McVeigh is 201. He's former military. A military personnel file is called a 201 file. And of course, the Jesuits are a military order, just like the Knights Templar were. And of course, the Templar logo's in the Jesuit logo. The Jesuits have a sun with the letters IHS and the Templar cross. And again, the Bushes, who surrounded the Clinton presidency, they're both members of Skull and Bones, which is modeled after the Knights Templar and how they buried their dead in an ossuary. Timothy McVeigh's accomplice, Terry Lynn Nichols, his name's 201. McVeigh was radicalized in Arkansas at the white supremacist camp, And again, I don't choose to call him Robert G. Millar, but you can look up Robert G. Millar. That's how he's referenced everywhere with the middle initial. And again, when you learn gematria, you realize why some people in the history books like their middle initials in there. It's because they're trying to hit numbers. This code of letters and numbers comes from Kabbalah, where in its text, the Book of Formation, it says on the opening page, God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. And these people are playing God by a biblical code every day. By the way, the Holy Bible equals 201. But Robert G. Millar, the way his name goes down, who created the white supremacist camp in Arkansas where McVeigh was supposedly radicalized, his name, 201, the founder of this camp. And keep in mind, Arkansas, who was the president at the time? Bill Clinton, from Arkansas. For the record, the word Arkansas equals the word Jesuit alone. Now, Richard Snell, this is an awesome piece. Before I went down to Oklahoma City, I didn't know about the Robert G. Millar piece or the Richard Snell piece, but look it up. It's all facts. Richard Snell was accused of murdering people between November 3rd, 83 and June 30th of 84, and plotting to blow up the same Oklahoma City building in 83. And for those crimes, he was put to death by the state on April 19th, 95, the day the building blew up. The same man who plotted to blow it up in 83 gets put to death the day of in 95. His name, Richard Snell, 201. Now, keep in mind that the building blew up on a Wednesday. Wednesday is named after Mercury, which in Roman mythology, which also equals 201, Roman mythology, Mercury is the trickster associated with deception. Timothy McVeigh is arrested in an Easter yellow Mercury marquee right after Easter, 3 days after Easter. This happened on a Wednesday. Easter was the Sunday prior, April 16th. But he's arrested in a Mercury marquee on a Wednesday. And again, Mercury marquee equals 201. And on the periodic table, it's the only element that has an atomic mass of approximately 201. Remember, there's a lot of funny things with the periodic table. Arsenic equals 33. It's the 33rd element. The 33-day Pope went to bed on the Jesuits' birthday, never woke up again. Most people contend he was poisoned with arsenic. The Jesuits are known for killing with arsenic. The Jesuits are known for having their hands in everything, including our science books, and which is why the periodic table is probably all coded out the way it is. But anyway, April 19th, the day it happened. That's the day in history that Ignatius of Loyola became the first superior general of the Jesuit order. And again, he's also the founder of the Jesuits. Ignatius of Loyola equals 201. Right now, we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. He's the first Jesuit Pope and the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. And again, the Jesuit history is that they were saved by Catherine the Great of Russia during the time of their suppression by preserving the order with 201 Jesuit priests. And let's not forget, Biden and Putin just met on Pearl Harbor Day, 201 days after the first ever Ignatian year began on May 20th. Only for the military conflict to begin by the numbers in the Donbass region, which equals 201. And by the way, this year on April 19th, what was the top story all day? All day this year on April 19th, right now it's 2022, all day on April 19th, the top story was what was going on in the Donbass region. So once again, it was 201 on April 19th, which is Ignatius of Loyola Day, also what we'll call Timothy McVeigh Day. And in gematria, the Jesuit order equals 201, what he founded. Order of Illuminati, which was established by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, May 1st, 1776. Order of Illuminati equals 201. Adam Weishaupt died in history 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment, November 18th, 1830. 201, right? And November 18th is the 322nd day of the year, 322. Which is the number of skull and bones, which is Genesis 3:22, which mentions the tree of life, which is the physical model for Kabbalah. 3 pillars, 22 paths. Jewish mysticism equals 201, where all of this comes from. It should remind you that State of Israel equals 201. David Ben-Gurion, who declared Israel a nation, died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. In other words, yes, Israel is a product of the Jesuit agenda, which came out of the very Jesuit world wars, which we'll talk more about. I should mention, it's not on the list. I should have wrote up there, skull and bones equals 201. Of course, the Holy Bible is 201. The word Illuminati alone is 48. That's how old Bill Clinton was at the time. The term false flag, which you're really not allowed to say on YouTube, also equals 48. So apologies to the Jesuit censorship police. at Google. And let's not forget, Google celebrates their birthday on September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the year. That's the day the 33-day Pope went to bed and never woke up again. But remember, September 27th leaves 95 days left in the year. The Jesuits' original purpose was to counter the 95 Theses written by Martin Luther. Get to Martin Luther King Jr. being assassinated on the 95th day of 68, the year that so many plans went into motion and the year that McVeigh was born. But in another cipher known as Jewish Gematria, AT&T equals 201. Again, their building overlooks the site. They're right down Interstate 35, where JFK was killed in Dallas. AT&T's headquartered out of Dallas. Again, Catholics 35, JFK number 35, killed in Dallas, right where you can jump on Interstate 35. Of course, Oklahoma City is also on the 35th parallel north, and right there on Route 35. Again, all roads lead to Rome. We'll talk more about 35 too. But in that same cipher where AT&T is 201, Jewish Gematria, so is Roman. Again, the statue at the site in tribute to the tragedy with Jesus with his hand over his head and Jesus wept. That's from the Bible, where Jesus cries after the Romans sacked Jerusalem. Roman 201, right? Mars is the god of war. Mars in that same cipher is 201. And the memorial, which I wasn't allowed to go into, they knew I was coming down there. Apparently they had a meeting before I got there to make sure I was kept off the premises. They didn't want me going through the museum. I probably would have picked up 100 more things that are important, but it's okay. We got enough. Bill Gates, part of what's in the memorial is a tribute to Windows 95. And somebody left a comment on my video because I was saying, I wonder why they made the outside of the memorial look the way they did. Somebody who's a Microsoft employee says that the window pattern is the same coding format that Microsoft uses. So, again, you got Microsoft Windows 95 as part of the exhibit in the memorial for the bombing. You have an awkward window pattern on the outside of the building that apparently is an old form of Microsoft coding. And remember, again, if you don't know, all of the world of big tech is Jesuit. Sundar Pichai, who heads Google right now, the censorship Nazis of the world. By the way, Adolf Hitler's birth name equals 201. Adolphus Hitler. But William Henry Gates, Gematria 201. Sundar Pichai, 201. Jeff Bezos to the moon on the anniversary of the moon landing on the 201st day of the year, and then just everything else. You follow this pattern, you see that all the big tech companies are there. It's clear that all these people, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, right on down the line, every last one of them, Jesuit pawns. Big tech, your federal government, the things that are keeping surveillance on you, they're all controlled by the same people. So why else have a Windows 95 tribute at the 95 memorial? And also, again, make the windows of the building a tribute to a Microsoft coding format. But again, Bill Gates, full name, William Henry Gates, 201. And let's not forget, he was one of the main co-sponsors of Event 201, the COVID simulation put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab 1 month before the outbreak. Can't say too much or they'll take down the whole video for medical misinformation. Anyway, so Chris Emery, he did a video with RTR Truth Media, who is another guy that's come out of the woodwork and called me a shill for God knows what reason. But he did do a nice interview with Chris Emery, and he likes to talk too much. He should have just let Chris talk more instead of blabbing his mouth. But they did have a nice interview, and I have it linked. I have their interview linked in my post. If you go to about just a little bit after 1 hour and 7 in the video, it's where Chris Emery talks about McVeigh being a CIA asset. But here, let's get to the other part of this with regards to the CIA. In Gematria, terror and CIA both equal 68 when you just run the alphabetic order in reverse. So you just make Z1 back to A is 26. They both equal 68. And again, this attack came 68 days after, well, it came 122 days before Bill Clinton's upcoming birthday. We talked about the 243 days after. It did come 122 days before his upcoming birthday as well. Bill Clinton's 122, so was Keating, who was the governor at the time, just like the Jesuit motto, Isus hominum salvator equals 122. And again, long before I was born, there were people writing books about how the Jesuits, when they performed evil, they would say Isus hominum salvator or ad merum Dei gloriam. And it's kind of like how they framed for years Middle Eastern terrorists saying, Allahu Akbar. It's really these people that do this, that say for the greater glory of God as they, destroy people's lives, property, in the sake of their agenda. But here's what I just wanted you to see about Keating. From his birthday, February 10th, to the attack was 68 days later, right? And it's kind of like how from Bush's birthday to 9/11 is his 68th day of his age each year. And of course, Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones in 68 with a graduating class of 911 members. And World Trade Center construction began in 68. And AT&T made 911 the national emergency dialing code in 68. But again, 68 days after the governor's birthday, the man who wrote the Turner Diaries that supposedly inspired... by the way, the Turner Diaries equals 194, the attack on 19/4, but McVeigh was supposedly inspired by this book, the Turner Diaries, written by William Luther Pierce, who died at 68, and by the way, who was born on September 11th. But again, the book that inspired McVeigh, this is the official story from the government, which is for the CIA, right? The author dead at 68. What are the odds? It happened on Patriots' Day. That's because the American Revolutionary War began on April 19th in history, and not arbitrarily. The Jesuits have controlled this nation from its beginning. You can prove it in a million different ways by understanding the knowledge that we do. But Patriots' Day is 68. Now, the statue that's outside on the Catholic Church's property in tribute to the Oklahoma City bombing is called "And Jesus Wept," which is weird. You think they would have just called it Jesus Wept, right? Because that's what it says in the Bible. It doesn't say, "And Jesus wept." It's the shortest verse in the whole Bible, Jesus wept, in tribute to when Jesus cried after the Romans sacked Jerusalem. And when you write out "And Jesus wept," which is what they call the name of the statue. Here, let me zoom it in. I document while we were there if you missed it. But right at the podium here, it's not showing up in the wiki photo, but it's written right there, "And Jesus wept." Off to the side, there's a plaque with John 11 and the man who donated the resources to build this statue, who I'd like to look more into. But, "And Jesus wept." They had to add an and again, that's just the proof that they practice gematria. In the same cipher, running the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology, "And Jesus wept" is 68. Catholicism, 68. Mathematics is 68. Solar system is 68. And of course, that name for the sun, Helios, is also 68. Again, the Catholic Church that worships on Sunday, which is a solar cult. Easter is traditionally a pagan celebration, sun cult. This happened right after Easter, 3 days after Easter to be exact. For other numbers that relate to the Catholic Church, again, this city, Oklahoma City, is on the 97th meridian west and the 35th parallel north. Roman Catholicism is 97. Catholic is 35. Keep in mind the word death is also 97. And Holy See is 35. Christmas Day is 1225. The square root of 1225 is 35. The word eye is 35. The sun is the eye of God to the pagans. And that's easy to understand because when the sun's out, there's light and you can see. And when it's down, it's dark and you can't see really. But the word I, E-Y-E, E's the fifth letter, Y's the 25th, E's the fifth, added up 35. Genesis 3:5, about the eyes of God. Again, all of this stuff is biblical. All of this numeric encoding is biblical. 97's the 25th prime. Amazon's 25. Amazon banned Chris Emery's film on the explosion on the 25th anniversary. And again, just down the road, just down Interstate 35 is Dallas, where JFK number 35 was assassinated. And again, if you're new here, gematria, it's the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. Notice when I write out Catholic, with numerology, Catholic's 35. JFK, the first Catholic president, number 35. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology, Catholic is 46. JFK, number 35, killed at age 46. We told everybody a year in advance why Biden would be elected number 46, 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday in the 59th presidential election. Notice in that most pure cipher, John F. Kennedy's 59, how he went by. And also, Pope Francis is 59. The 59th election, exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, we get the 46th president, Joe Biden. And let's not forget his son, Beau, died at age 46, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. and Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, who is the Jesuit priest and former head of Georgetown. He did the funeral for Beau Biden at 46 and the inauguration for Joe Biden as number 46 on 20/1. And if you go to the government website, or hold on, inauguration of the President of the United States. This is what January 20th is titled on the government's official website. See, on the most pure cipher, it's 201, like the date's 20/1. It's not arbitrary that in the Jesuit city, D.C., we inaugurate our Jesuit puppet presidents on that day. Far from it. It's that same cipher, Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America. Again, that really is. The 4 base ciphers are all important, but you know, the vast majority of the research that I presented over the years is in that cipher. Just like Manly P. Hall says in The Secret Teachings of All Ages. That is the cipher to know. And but again, I mean, if you didn't run it in reverse, you'd miss this whole thing right here. And Jesus wept, Catholicism, mathematics, solar system, the Club of Rome, established in 1968 on April 7th, 3 days after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. on the 95th day of the year, in tribute to Martin Luther, who was against the Catholic Church, who wrote the 95 Theses. Then this huge Jesuit ritual in the Bible Belt in Oklahoma City in 95. Keep in mind, it was 32 years after JFK, right? That was in 63, so 32 years later, the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry shares the Admirum Dei Gloriam motto with the Jesuits. 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. America 32, Scottish 32, Christ 32. The Son of God, the sun in the sky. You know what? Just the power, too, of things. What really happened is Chris Emery, who took us on the tour, we ended up, you know, we ended up back at the statue where this photo was taken with the group. This is that same statue back here. This is the same statue back here. You can see yours truly looking goofy as always. Yeah, right, the Matrix looking real handsome. All the beautiful ladies, you know. Hey, the sisters are there, but they're separate. Oh, she's look at the 2 sisters with the Gematria signs. They were with us in Dallas, Pound and Payment, Oklahoma. See, so many wonderful people came out. Look at Fake Mike, Real News in his pose. Look at RPM Trey and his cousin, protect him with the First Amendment. So many great truth seekers right there in that photo. But if you guys weren't there, September 11th, 2022, we're going to do it again. I will be in New York for 9/11 this year. I've never been to New York. It'll be fitting that I'll be there at age 39, right? But it's got to happen. So, yeah, right, I'll be there. I think a lot of people in this photo will absolutely be there. And plus many more. Everyone who missed out this time. But we're going to continue the momentum, and eventually we're going to wake up this country to the evil that's running it. And again, notice, Jesus wept is found in Gospel of John, chapter 11, verse 35, right? Verse 35. I mean, it just couldn't be any more obvious, could it? Oklahoma City coordinates. Let me show it to you. I forgot to put the screenshot up here. 35th parallel. You see? Think about what this story did. You know, it grabbed the mind's eye of the masses, the most simple cipher. I is 35. It's also 46 in reverse like Catholic, right? Again, Catholic, 35. Holy See, 35. Jesuitism, 35, which is trickery. And the definition of Jesuitism in the 1800s, and the same dictionaries in the early 1800s where terrorism said government by intimidation, Jesuitism said trickery and deception. In the more modern dictionaries, doesn't say that anymore, but those are the old definitions from not even 200 years ago, and those are the accurate definitions. Now, keep in mind, this did happen right after Easter. We're going through the list of 68s. Easter has the 68 in it. We'll talk about the 94 as well. The AT&T building that overlooks Oklahoma City. Notice it was built in 27. Tell me, how old did it turn in 95? That's 68 years later, isn't it? 27 plus 68, 95. In 68, AT&T made 911 the national emergency dialing code. Again, in addition to that, World Trade Center construction began in New York in 68. George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. 9/11 is his 68th day of age. And Timothy McVeigh, also born in 68, on April 23rd. That's today. You know, how old would he have been today? He would have turned 54 today. Funny. Remember in They Live, which came out 201 days after Roddy Piper's birthday, who ended up dying on the same day as Ignatius of Loyola, who posted on September 27th that it was a documentary. Again, if you've never seen They Live, you should watch it. When you put on the glasses, you see the truth right before your eyes. And no doubt that film was a reference to Gematria. I'll talk more about that in just a moment. But again, Timothy McVeigh, born in 68, the lead hijacker on 9/11, born in 68. Not to mention born on September 1st. You can write that date 1/9 like 19. They said there were 19 hijackers. The Quran code was discovered in 1968, where they say the entire Quran centered on the number 19. 19 years after 9/11 and the 19 hijackers. I told you it would be a real bad year. That was 2020. That was the year they gave us COVID-19 after the Event 201 simulation. If you haven't read my last book, Number Games, it's out there. I've made the ebook free to download so people can get the work. And you know what? I just want to send a message to Chris. I mean, he's his own man. He can do whatever he wants. Chris is frustrated that his work's been banned online because he put his heart in it and, you know, a lot of time and energy and effort and money and resources. And it's been banned everywhere. He said Amazon owed him $60,000 in royalties and found a way to not pay him a single penny. And I mean, $60,000, I mean, you know, to somebody that's a lot of money, but when you work for, I believe he told us he worked for 8 years on the project, to put 8 years of time into something and only make $60,000 and then not even receive any of it, I mean, you would really feel cheated. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I've written 2 books. I began writing my first book about 8 years ago now, and, you know, between the 2 books, I haven't even made quite $60,000 yet. I have been paid for it, though. But even having made $60,000, it's like, man, those books are so good. They should have made more than that. We need some resources to make some of that. By the way, you guys, I don't know what it is, but the month that I went out and did this, my support through Patreon hasn't been this low in more than a year. It's like, man, in the month that I went out and put in all this effort, the support's lower than it's ever been. It's whatever. I'm glad it happened. I mean, it was an amazing thing. But hold on, coming back to the presentation. Here's the clincher that it's the Catholic Church behind all this. Pope John Paul II, from his birthday, May 18th, to the day of the destruction in Oklahoma City, was his 337th day of his age, which is the 68th prime number. And remember, Albert Pike's letter about 3 world wars is dated August 15th, 1871, which was the 337th birthday of the Jesuit order. And as we know, World War I began on a date with 68 numerology. World War II began on a date with 68 numerology. And what just took place between Russia and Ukraine, which might end up being the official start date of World War III as time goes on if more nations become involved in this. Again, they're just waiting for one of the NATO nations to get hit, and then you'll have a whole bunch of countries in it. But that began February 24th, 2022, which was a date with 68 numerology. And of course, 2 days before that was the 68th day of the Pope's age, Pope Francis, when energy prices shot up because the Russian troops went into Ukraine. But this pattern of 337 and 68, you know, we've talked about it so many times, and you just look at all these 68s on Oklahoma City, from the governor to the day it happened to AT&T, you know, to the Pope. These are impossible coincidences. Impossible. And again, it's the same pattern all throughout history from 9/11 to the world wars. And it just goes to show it's the same Jesuits pulling the strings all throughout history. That word his story, it has story in it. You know, this is the gang that printed those big books, the Bibles, with the story that you're supposed to believe in from the authorities and let it guide and shape your life. And again, it's not to say that everything in the Bible, I mean, the Bible's nowhere near as evil as what these people are doing, but there are things in the Bible that to me just don't make sense. There's a lot of good stuff in the Bible. Again, I was raised Lutheran, but, and don't think because I was raised Lutheran, I have some bias against Catholic people. My parents had me in Catholic school in kindergarten and first grade because we were poor and they had all-day free care. I used to be in Catholic church around nuns all day for the first, 2 years of my schooling. And honestly, when I left Catholic school for public school, I wanted to go back to Catholic school. The nuns were a lot nicer than Miss Hanson, who I had for second grade, who was, probably flying home on a broomstick. But anyway, 337th day of the Pope's age, 68th prime. And here's the next piece. Again, just to show you how this stuff keeps going on. Donald Trump, who's Jesuit educated, who went to Fordham. Joe Biden, who's from the town of Scranton, where The Office ran 201 episodes, home of one of the nation's top Jesuit prep schools, whose flag is in every episode of The Office. But, okay, the Turner Diaries piece. The Turner Diaries. Timothy McVeigh, his attack on the building was supposedly inspired by the Turner Diaries, which is about an insurrection in Washington, D.C., by white supremacists, where they blow up a federal building. And let's not even forget that Frank Keating, the governor of Oklahoma, his brother wrote the book, The Final Jihad, which was taken out of print and then republished again just after the bombing. That's as big as the Bible, where a Tom McVeigh blows up the same building in a moving truck packed with fertilizer. But anyway, the Turner Diaries, which, like we said, equals 194, like 19/4, the day of the attack. Again, this is the man who was born on September 11th and died at 68. The insurrection piece. So, the insurrection in D.C., it happened the day of the Save America March put on by Donald John Trump, the Jesuit. And notice Save America March is 68, like Donald John Trump, like CIA. They ended up comparing this to 9/11, right, and Pearl Harbor. And let's not forget, Pearl Harbor on December 7th, they called 9/11 the new Pearl Harbor. Buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell. Building 7 without explanation, which had a bunch of federal documents in it relating to the Enron and WorldCom lawsuits, just like how the Oklahoma City building had documents relating to the Whitewater case with the Clintons. But just notice, 68, right? And this right here was another massive 201 ritual. Donald Trump's birthday, first of all, is June 14th, the flag's birthday. From that day through December 31st is a total of 201 days. And from the day that the Albert Pike statue fell, the only Confederate statue in D.C., which was June 19th, 2020, after the George Floyd riots, to the Capitol insurrection, January 6th, was 201 days later. The word Confederate's 201. The act that bought up Washington, D.C. in 1871, I forget the name of the act right now, but it equals 201. Shows you who really owns D.C., the Jesuits and the Catholic Church. They bought it up after they bankrupted the nation with their instigated civil war. Don't forget, the American Civil War began April 12th, 1861, the 102nd day of the year. 102, the reflection of 201. Art of War equals 102, translated by the Jesuit priest Father Amiot. No historical record of a Sun Tzu, but the Jesuit logo's the sun. But Art of War equals 102, like World War equals 102. April 12th, the 102nd day of the year, the American Civil War began that bankrupted the nation, that allowed D.C. to be bought out, which made it an independent city-state. But then the only Confederate statue there, Albert Pike, again, it fell 201 days before the insurrection. Remember, he also penned the letter about 3 world wars on the Jesuit birthday, August 15th, 1871. The Jesuits and the Masons, Oklahoma City with the Masonic Temple on the campus, and the Catholic Church across the street, right under the AT&T building. But let's also not forget with 9/11. 9/11 was simulated with Operation Amalgam Virgo, June 1st, 2001, 102 days before the 102-minute attack. And, of course, Al-Qaeda equals 102. And Bin Laden, it was even part of the official story that his little group over there that the CIA funded to create interference with the Russians. So there's the CIA again, 102, 201. And, again, just all throughout history, the same old patterns. Joe Biden. By the way, the whole thing kicked off in Ukraine 102 days after the Superior General's birthday, and then Biden gave the latest State of the Union in history on his 102nd day of his age, where he began with why we must support Ukraine, and the State of the Union lasted an hour and 2 minutes. How's that look on a clock? 1:02 on a digital clock? Anyway, and let's not forget that happened right after the 102nd NFL season ended, and the coach who won, Sean McVay, his fiancée is from Ukraine, right? Matt Stafford becomes the 34th quarterback to win a Super Bowl at age 34, and Ukraine's 34, and the Rams got the same colors as Ukraine, gold and blue. Their coat of arms is a trident the symbol all over the World Trade Centers. Again, all of this stuff is ritual, you guys. 9/11, Patriot Act, Patriots. Tom Brady has all his accomplishments against the Rams. He retires. The Rams finally win a Super Bowl again. Then he comes back. I mean, all of this stuff, you guys. And don't forget, Tom Brady, the good Catholic who shook the Pope's hand. All of this stuff goes back to Rome. The Romans had the Colosseum. We got the National Football League, the National Basketball Association, Major League Baseball. All these leagues are controlled by the same people. It's all rigged and scripted and planned. They got their... And again, look at Major League Sports and see the disproportionate amount of athletes that went to Catholic and Jesuit high schools as well as universities. It's way out of balance. This nation, most people are public school educated. Take a look at pro sports. You'll be blown away at how many of them went to Catholic and Jesuit high schools and prep schools and again, universities as well. It's just totally disproportionate. Okay, so let's talk about a few more things. The head of the CIA, who retired just before the bombing, he was from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Robert James Woolsey. And it looks like I forgot to put this, or it's right there. His last day as the head of the CIA was January 10th, 95. And again, they do things like this on purpose because it might have been too obvious if the head of the CIA was from Oklahoma at the time that the Oklahoma Federal Building blows up, right? But notice, from his birthday to the day the building blew up, or excuse me, not from the day his birthday, excuse me, from the day that he retired from the CIA to the day that the building blew up was a span of 99 days. And that matters because the bomb went off at approximately just after 9 a.m. and the building was 9 stories tall. So a 9 a.m. explosion pretty much of a 9-story building. And let's not forget, here we are in the United States of America, which was named that on September 9th, 9/9. And let's not forget that in Gematria, in the most pure cipher, the United States of America equals 99. And let's not forget that the Illuminati was created by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, May 1st, 1776, a date with 99 numerology, with 13 families, where when you spell out 13, it equals 99. Could go into how big that just understand, these patterns persist throughout history. They just did it in a huge way with the latest Super Bowl. But... again, the United States of America, 13 stripes, 13 colonies, 13 years of slave school where you go and learn history, which is a bunch of lies. I remember where I was when Oklahoma City blew up. I was in Washington State, and we had an assembly that day to talk about the tragedy. Unexpected assembly to talk about the terrible tragedy. We had a crazy windstorm that day, too, which was weird. Then I go down to Oklahoma and find out it's all kinds of windy down there. But anyhow, from his retirement with the CIA to the explosion, 99 days. And by the way, I was just making the point about 13 and 99. I guess I should show you this. CIA has the gematria of 13 forwards. And because it's C's the third letter, I's the ninth, A's the first, it's also the same with numerology because they're all single-digit numbers. But when you spell out 13, again, it's 99. And when you write out the United States of America, it's 99. And notice when I write out 13, it's also 117. Remember how we were talking about Central Intelligence Agency is also... Oh my goodness, I can't spell. Central Intelligence Agency is also 117 and 243. We talked about 243 days after Clinton's birthday, 117 weeks after he took office. These other numbers come up too, but they're for another time. And notice, Woolsey, look at where he went to school. He also went to Yale. Go figure, he also went to Yale, where Skull and Bones is. Even educated in the UK at St. John's College, Catholic, Oxford. Again, the world's oldest known university at the Vatican. The next oldest in the world is Oxford in the UK. Jesuit strongholds. Now, notice from Woolsey's birthday, his birthday is September 21st, born in 41. Remember, Pentagon construction began September 11th, 41, right before Pearl Harbor. But from his birthday to the attack was 210 days. And it was the Alfred P. Murrah building that got destroyed, which equals 210. We're going to talk about Queen Semiramis in a moment because her name is also 210. She's connected to Tammuz. Her tears resurrected Tammuz, which is related to Easter. And with regards to Alfred P. Murrah himself, notice his birthday was October 27th. He would have turned 91 that year, in 95, which is the 13th triangular number. He died in 75 on October 30th. But what's interesting is the bombing came 191 days before the anniversary of his birthday and 194 days before the anniversary of his death. And you see how Oklahoma City is 191 and 65? He's born on the day leaving 65 days left in the year, right? I was just talking about this because Primus was in town in Oklahoma City. Hold on. Primus, they just had their... I want you to see this. Primus just put out a new song called Conspiranoia, essentially making fun of people who are talking about things like what Chris Emery's talking about, what I'm talking about right now, saying that all these people that are talking about these things being conspiracies are paranoid people who are putting out false information. But Primus was just in town for their new... What is the name of their new concert tour? Come on. Whatever the name of the new tour is, it just began in Oklahoma City on Friday, April 15th, and the name of the new tour equals 191 and 65. And the first tour date, A Tribute to Kings. A Tribute to Kings. You see that? A Tribute to Kings, 191 and 65. What else is interesting about the 97 is, again, the city is on the 97th Meridian West. So Primus... Isn't it funny how they do this stuff? Primus is in town in Oklahoma City, which equals 191 and 65. Did you see the 52? The tallest building in Oklahoma City is 52 stories tall. OKC is also 52. But A Tribute to Kings. They start the tour right there in Oklahoma City. And again, funny enough, that band was created in 1984. That their new song, making fun of conspiracy people, says that they shouldn't be doubting Anthony Fauci, who's been the head of NIH since 1984. George Orwell's book, member of the Fabian Society, but of course Jesuits 84. See how Jesuits 84-21? So is Arkansas. Again, this is highly connected with Arkansas. McVeigh radicalized there. Bill Clinton. Notice how Jesuit also has the 42 in it, right? Bill Clinton, number 42 from Arkansas. Anyway, isn't it amazing how the bombing was so synced with Alfred P. Murrah in Oklahoma City, which is the Bible Belt? And the big number that you really need to understand is that 191. Again, Oklahoma City's 191, so is Society of Jesus. That's the formal title of the Jesuits. And, their thing is the unconquered sun. The unconquered sun, that the birthday of the unconquered sun has been celebrated since 274 AD. The Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, is 274. It's also 266 in reverse, like Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope, the 266th pope. We talked about it being 122 days, the bombing 122 days before Bill Clinton's upcoming birthday, where his name is also 122. So is Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope. So again, gematria, just so simple. It's the alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with numerology. All the ciphers get used ritualistically. But the man who replaced R. James Woolsey, who was the look at how short of a period of time he was the director of the CIA, from January 11th to May 9th, 95. So his time as director in 95 ended on May 9th, a date that can be written 9/5, like 95. And just for another piece on the Jesuits, again, their original purpose, again, they were recognized by Rome on the day leaving 95 days left in the year to counter the 95 Theses, and that was called the Counter-Reformation, which in the most pure cipher is 95. And again, they founded the Bavarian Illuminati, which was renamed Order of Illuminati, but the Bavarian Illuminati is 95. And again, with regards to the building paying its respect for where the memorial is to Microsoft Windows 95 with an exhibit for that, and the window pattern being the coding from back in that time, Microsoft Windows 95, and this should tell you what Microsoft Windows really is. Remember, Bill Gates started Microsoft thanks to his mother and his father, that were in the banking and computer business. His mother was connected to IBM. Remember, in 1968, 2001: A Space Odyssey also came out. Another thing from 68 where the AI, that overtakes man is called HAL. HAL, H is the letter that comes before I. A is the letter that comes before B. L is the letter that comes before M. So HAL are all the letters before IBM. IBM connected to Microsoft. HAL 2001: A Space Odyssey 68, right? You see how this goes? Oklahoma City, clearly a precursor to 9/11. Technology being a big part of this, because computers, cameras, surveillance, databases, all the things that are coming out of these rituals, right? The government scares us again. We need to do something about radical terrorism. We need to keep you safe with databases, with cameras, with surveillance. Microsoft, these companies that are supposedly private, really being part of this Jesuit fascist network and framework. You know, I'd like to talk more about Event 201, but then there goes your video, medical misinformation. It's like, God, talking about the truth and documenting facts is now considered misinformation. Wow, this is crazy. But check this out. The guy who was in charge, William O. Studman. This is how they put his name there. I didn't choose to put the O in there. William O. Studman, who's in control of the CIA when Oklahoma City blows up, 191 days before the birthday of Alfred P. Murrah. His name is 191 and 65. And I'm telling you guys, it's not an accident that they had Primus in town for this concert, right before the anniversary. It's not an accident. It's not an accident. This is the way these people roll. They control these entertainers. They're telling them what songs to put out, how to rig the sports game, how to sync it all up. Proving it day after day, year after year. Okay, so also, just about the forwards and backwards thing. Again, from his first day in office was January 11th, right? So from his first day in office to the day it blows up, his 99th day as director of the CIA. Again, the bombing at 9 a.m., 9-story building. Notice the United States of America forwards is 99. In reverse, it's 144. Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in that most pure cipher is also 144. And, in our most simple cipher, Jesuit Order is 144. Again, if you don't know, look into June 12th, 2020, TIP, Transition Integrity Project, simulated at Jesuit Georgetown. They simulated Joe Biden narrowly winning the election, beating Trump, and then Trump refusing to step down, saying he was cheated, which would lead to deadly violence in the streets of America, which was your staged insurrection. But that was done 144 days before the election, and President Biden's 144. And understand, every election's rigged. Every election is rigged and scripted. It was rigged and scripted for Trump in 2016. It was rigged and scripted. Again, I said in 2015 why it looked like Trump would win the election, why it was rigged and scripted for him. Said the same thing a year before, Biden won. And I didn't know Gematria in the election before that, but we all knew Obama was winning back-to-back. I mean, you didn't even need the numbers. If you want to know why Obama first won the 56th election, again, Black Lives Matter 56. That's why they had nominated the black woman for the Supreme Court on the 56th day of the year in a huge Jesuit ritual 201 days before her birthday. That's why Kamala became the first black woman in the White House at age 56. Society of Jesus 56, Black Lives Matter 56. All these rituals are theirs. Did I forget to mention that George Perry Floyd equals 201 and he was killed, or supposedly killed 201 weeks after Adama Traore, who was killed on the 201st day of 2016 in Paris, France, where the Jesuits are from, which led to the knocking over the statue, the Albert Pike statue, 201 days before the Capitol insurrection. You know what I mean? The racial tones, all of these ongoing scripted narratives, how they're all connected, from Oklahoma City to 9/11 to George Floyd to... Remember, I Can't Breathe is the Black Lives Matter while COVID's attacking people's lungs after the Event 201 simulation. Isn't it so obvious how this whole story, his story, that's what we should really call it. Jesuita story. We're going to school to start a Jesuita story. Because that's what it is. It's the Jesuit story. We're just living out the Jesuit story day after day. This man, the man who was the CIA director at the time, he had just turned 55 at the start of 95, which means he began his 56th year of life. If you go into the museum, somebody showed me the photo. There's a picture of supposedly McVeigh walking into the building at 8:56 and 56 seconds. 8 hours into the morning, 56 minutes and 56 seconds. There's a freeze frame in the museum of McVeigh supposedly going in the building, when he was... casing it before the explosion, but they got a double 56 up on there. But this man was in his 56th year of life. The attack came 93 days after his birthday. We know how important that number is. It represents Saturn, the keeper of time. the 93 Waco incident, the 93 World Trade Center bombing when Clinton became president, but it was 93 days after his birthday or his 94th day of his age, the man who was the CIA director at the time. And remember, the word terror is 94 forward, 68 in reverse. Tammuz, 94 forward, 68 in reverse. Easter's just the opposite, 68, 94. By the way, Helios, which is another name for the sun, again, we're talking about the sun cult here. Helios also has the 32 in that same cipher. So is Christ. So is Scottish. So is America. Again, 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. Remember the Dodgers Rig World Series? First World Series win in 32 years over the Rays. Another easy one we nailed over the years. But anyway, this came right after Easter. Easter is associated with Tammuz. Easter's origin, the beginning of Easter, goes back to the springtime ritual begun by Queen Semiramis following the death of Tammuz. Legend has it that through her tears, Tammuz could be resurrected in the reincarnated form of new vegetation on earth. Now, again, just the power of this. We, as a group, Chris gave us this tour. Let me pull the photo back up here. And where we ended at, where we stopped as a group, was right here in front of the Jesus Wept statue. And Chris didn't want to be in the photo, but he was here. I think, actually, can you see the back here? Can you see the man with the silver hair in the right with the back? I do believe that's Chris. So he is there he is in the photo. He's there with us. But he's got his back because he didn't want to be, he didn't really want, he said he's been given a lot of grief over the years for doing the work, and he doesn't like to announce when he's in Oklahoma City. Some years he just comes back to engage with some people quietly. But Chris, just being there talking about the death of the children, because when Chris did his research, he got all the records he could, and he actually got a lot of the autopsy photos. So he had all of the photos that were out there of the dead, and a lot of them were children. And when he was talking about this, he would try not to cry, but he started crying a little bit. And I mean, it's interesting because we're in front of the And Jesus Wept statue, and it's real emotion. It's just like, if you guys saw me when I was driving down to Dallas, I started crying just thinking about, well, for a lot of reasons, but also, God, was Corey there when we took this photo? Corey was out there a lot, but I don't think he was there in that moment when we took the photo. I don't see him in the picture, but I just started getting sad thinking about what a great man Corey was, and that he had to spend 17 years of his life in prison for having an unregistered weapon. I mean, that's a total joke, man. No man should be in a cage for having an unregistered weapon. We shouldn't even have to register our weapons. The Constitution says there's no right to infringe. There's no reason to infringe on the right to bear arms. It doesn't have to have an inscription on it or some government serial code. No. So there's all sorts of people rotting away in cages, really, because we have a tyrannical government that's undermined the Constitution. And the people who wrote that Constitution, they knew about the Catholic tyranny. A lot of people that came to this nation were trying to flee the Catholic Church. With all these things, paying income tax, this was never supposed to happen. Just so many core concepts of this nation are completely violated. The separation of church and state, are you kidding me? The Catholic Church owns our federal government. There is no separation of church and state. They own the CIA. They own the politicians. But anyway, what are the odds that Queen Semiramis, forwards is 168, in reverse it's 210 like we talked about? Again, this is the power of Gematria. You can see it. Queen Semiramis, 168, 210, right? Alfred P. Murrah, 210, right? That's what building blew up in this ritual that's clearly connected to Easter. And, how many did they say died at Oklahoma City? 168, right? 168. And this was a precursor for what was about to happen in New York City. Remember the footage they showed us all day on day one. The plane hits the building at 9:02 a.m. That's what time they say the bomb went off at Oklahoma City, 9:02 a.m. From talking to people there in the city, people who were 10, 15 miles away, they felt the impact of that explosion. And in Jewish gematria, by the way, car bomb is 168. That's in Jewish gematria. We'll talk about New York City being 129 like Georgetown is 129. 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. From the day of the attack to the day that Clinton signed up, who's Jesuit educated like Keating, signed off on the legislation to create the memorial that, I was protected from. The memorial was protected from me going on the property by the security guard tyrants there. But it was 129 weeks later. Go figure. 129 weeks. Could also say it was a span of 905 days, which is 129 weeks and 2 days. And a span of 905 days, kind of like the 95 bombing. But isn't it just so perfect? So the tears of the Queen resurrected Tammuz. This attack came at the time of Easter. The Catholic Church's statue that's there is "And Jesus Wept." Even our filmmaker, Chris Emery, he began to cry while we were there talking about it. And, that's just the organic side of things. And with regards to the organic side of things, possibly organic or possibly not, Chris did not name the film. The man who has his name on there as the director named the film A Nobile Lie. And this is a tribute to Plato. A noble lie refers to the propping up of a myth in order to maintain social harmony and keep the elite in their present position. But notice the name of the film. A Noble Lie is 168 in tribute to the 168 that were killed. Now, I asked Chris there if it's possible, because it says on the plaque at the memorial that at least 168 people died. And I asked Chris if it's possible that more people died than 168. He didn't think so. He thought that they had all the remains and body parts and had correctly identified the 168 number. My counter argument would be, again, the plaque says at least 168. He had to go off the records that were given to him, unless you were actually there that day and did an official head count and knew everybody that died. It's possible that some people died and they didn't even get put in the report. You know what I mean? So it's not really worth debating about. But the point is, I know for a fact that the reason they're reporting 168 died is because of this Queen Semiramis and because of New York City, and this being the precursor. Because again, this was all part of the planned ritual. They did this, they put the seed in your mind, and then they do it even bigger 6 years later. And I wasn't even quite 12 years old when Oklahoma City happened, but I had just turned 18 when 9/11 happened, and I felt weird about it when I was a child in elementary school and we had the assembly. Like I just couldn't fathom why a person would do that. It just didn't seem like something a human being would do. And then when 9/11 happened, I was older and more of an adult brain, and I saw for sure how I was being laughed at and made fun of by the federal government. I mean, it was just clear as day. It was the feds. So, here, I just want to read this about Tammuz. And again, keep in mind the statue there, "And Jesus Wept." So it says, tradition also shows that all the observances from other cultures and peoples throughout ancient times were mere copies or modifications of the original story of Nimrod. Now remember, Nimrod is who's credited with creating the Tower of Babel. That story ends with Genesis 11:9. World Trade Center construction, the World Trade Centers came down on 11/9 as the majority of the world writes it. And then you have Operation Neptune Spear. From the day Obama took office to the day Osama was reportedly killed is exactly a span of 119 weeks. Operation Neptune Spear is what it's called. Neptune is Poseidon, who carries the trident. The trident was all over the World Trade Centers. Poseidon equals 119 in Gematria. The other way around, Poseidon equals 97. And again, Oklahoma City is on the 97th meridian west. And don't forget the ship that dumped the body of bin Laden in the ocean. It was named after a man who also died at age 97. I bet somewhere in Oklahoma City there's a trident somewhere. I didn't see it. I was trying to find a trident with my own eyes. But I bet somewhere out there, somewhere there was a trident that showed up in the Oklahoma City ritual. I haven't figured it out yet. Again, right down the road's JFK, who was killed at the trident, the way the roads are shaped, But tradition also shows that all the observances from other cultures and peoples throughout ancient times were mere copies or modifications of the original story of Nimrod, his wife Semiramis, and their son Tammuz. So again, you see it? Tammuz, Easter, Oklahoma City. Then you get the World Trade Centers, the tower that divided the world, the massive tower. Nimrod built the Tower of Babel. The story is told that the wife of Nimrod, the king of Babylon, all this knowledge goes back to Babylon. They say Babylon's the original home of the Jews and Jewish mysticism, where this whole code comes from. The king of Babylon, after the death of her husband, claimed she had been supernaturally impregnated by the sun, God, and gave birth to Tammuz. Jesus? When Tammuz was 40 years old, he went hunting and was killed by a wild boar. Remind me what the name of the college is in Arkansas. Hold on. Who won March Madness in 1995? It wasn't Arkansas's year, was it? It was UCLA. What year? I know Arkansas won when Clinton became president. God, I got to go back and look at this. Arkansas defeated Duke that year, 76-72. Of course, Coach K defeated Arkansas by the numbers this year. Big ritual. God, I want to go back and look at this. I wouldn't be surprised if this is synced with the Oklahoma City bombing. But Arkansas is the Razorbacks. And again, Clinton's from there. And again, we know how they sync up sports and news all the time. His mother and her family mourned for 40 days, at the end of which Tammuz was brought back from the dead. So Lent is evidently the time when Tammuz is remembered and mourned during the fast of Tammuz. Mourning for the god was followed by a celebration of resurrection. So it also says, among the pagans, this Lent seems to have been an indispensable preliminary to the great annual festival in commemoration of the death and resurrection of Tammuz, which was celebrated by alternate weeping and rejoicing, and which in many countries was considerably later than the Christian festival, being observed in Palestine and Assyria in June, therefore called the month of Tammuz. In Egypt, about the middle of May, and in Britain, sometime in April. So in Britain, it's April. Whose logo's above the Prime Minister's door? That's right, the Jesuits. When did this happen? In April. When did we never get free from the UK? July 4th. Don't forget, holiday equals 74, London 74, Masonic 74, occult 74, Jewish 74, Jesus Cross, Messiah, parables, gospel, all those words 74. This nation's birthday 74, Independence Day 74. Free equals 74, the word that ends with dumb. You got to be dumb to think you're free in the slave states of America. But anyhow, to consolate the pagans to nominal Christianity, Rome, pursuing its usual policy, took measures to get the Christian and pagan festivals amalgamated, and by a complicated but skillful adjustment of the calendar, it was found no difficult matter in general to get paganism and Christianity, now far sunk in idolatry, in this as is so many other things, to shake hands. Now, with regards to this being rooted in what happened in 93 and all of this being pagan, let's go back. What do the pagans celebrate on December 25th? They celebrate the birthday of the solar man, which in the most simple cipher is 93, like how they say the sun is 93 million miles away. And we say God's son, right? God's son is 93. God's son from Nazareth, which is a place in the stars, which is 93. And, of course, crucifix is also 93. And the Roman form of capital punishment, triclavianism, can't spell today, triclavianism, is also 93. Notice it's also 201. Let's not forget that Timothy McVeigh was sentenced to death on June 13th, 97, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. And let's also not forget that Order of Illuminati, got the 201 and the 93. Heliocentrism, which was created in the 16th century, same century the Jesuits were established. Heliocentrism got the 201 in it. So, again, Nimrod, 9/11. Tammuz, Oklahoma City. Father, Son, Holy Trinity. 3 days after Easter. 3 planes on 9/11, right, that supposedly hit targets. But yeah, there it is. Tower of Babel story. Genesis. Again, the Tower of Babel is Genesis 11:1, right? Through 11:9. That's the story of Tower of Babel. And September 11th is the day leaving 111 days left in the year. New York, 111. You see how it works? Genesis 11:1. Genesis also has the 111 in it as well. So. But with regards to the World Trade Centers, they were established April 4th, 73, the 5-year anniversary of the killing of MLK. It wasn't a leap year that year, so it was the 94th day of the year. World Trade Center 94. The buildings come down in an act of terror. I got to get the door, but remember, McVeigh put to death at 33. Masonry, secrecy, order, federal. They're all 33. Give me 1 second, and then we'll take calls. Take a little break. I got to talk to the man at the door, but then I'll be right back. Okay. We're back, Truth Seeker. I see Sarah Sutherland with even more generosity, another $20 donation. You're very welcome, Sarah. Thank you for the super chat. And what I wanted to do was take some phone calls. And here's what I'd like. If you weren't at Oklahoma City, please don't call in right now. I'd just like to open up the phone lines for people who came out and participated right now. Just hear some of those calls, some of that feedback. And let's say the phone line's open and it doesn't ring for the first 5 minutes. There just happens to be nobody watching, and I doubt that's the case. I'm sure there's somebody who was there who'd like to call in. But I'd just like to take some calls from people who were there. By the way, Chris Emery, who made the film, he's going to be on TFR not this Wednesday night, but next Wednesday night, so May 4th. We're going to have Chris Emery on, and he's just going to share some more about his work, where you can check out his work, where you can support him. I said in person when he was there that I would love to make a film with him and, bring his knowledge and also, the stuff that I share. The thing about his work is a lot more easily absorbed by the common person. It's easier to understand records and evidence, and the gematria thing. It doesn't appeal to everybody. But God, the world needs to learn this, you guys, because this is the code they work by every day. My man right here, fake Mike, real news, holding his whisk. Again, that's what he uses as fake Mike. He's a comedian, this guy. And he's someone who's out for justice and, freedom from tyranny. I mean, he sees it for what it is. But I can just tell that the gematria doesn't really resonate with him because he was next to me almost the whole time I was down there. And people would come up to him and ask him something, and he's like, I'm here with Zach. I don't really agree with Zach or really necessarily understand his work. I'm just getting into it. But I can tell you the things I'm saying are true. Again, he's brand new to it, so it's going to take time. But First of all, fake Mike, as much as I like you, man, it's just like, how can you not, this is what kills me about people in the truth community. How can you guys not know about this work at this time? Have you guys seen the list of accomplishments? Have you seen how many things we've called before it happened? Just how dead on the work is day after day? This is the knowledge to prove definitively who is behind the rituals. Fake Mike, real news, his real thing, he's caught up in the whole Epstein thing. I got news for you, fake Mike. Jeffrey Epstein is a nobody. His birthday's 20/1. He's another Jesuit pawn in the game, another distraction. Pizzagate, another Jesuit psyop, another big fat Jesuit ritual. These are the things he's really into because what bothers him the most is child sex trafficking. Hey, guess who the real child sex traffickers are that I didn't hear you say a word about the entire time we were down in Oklahoma City? I heard Pizzagate. I heard Jeffrey Epstein. Didn't hear you say one time the Catholic Church. That's who sex traffics and abuses children. The Catholic Church. All these things like Epstein and everything else are distractions. They're Timothy McVeighs. They're patsies. They're fake stories. They are the fake news. It's the Jesuits in the Catholic Church that run this world, control its media, its governments, start its wars. Here, to make a point, and I can back this up all day. I used to work at the biggest group home in Seattle, Washington, and you know who comes there every single month? The Knights of Columbus. You know what I noticed while I worked there? Children hardly ever get adopted, but when they do, every single time they get adopted to the East Coast. And one of the weirdest things is I can't find a single child anywhere on any social media platform that I ever worked with there. It really makes me wonder like what's going on. But there's a lot of children in this world who don't have families. They're dead. They're incarcerated. That they're in insane asylums. And these are the children that the powers that shouldn't be have easy pickings at. But yeah, I mean, just for fake Mike, if you're out there, before I take calls, because his whole thing is Epstein. I'll just show you all this stuff about Epstein, just real quick. Jeffrey Epstein, just how simple it is. Born January 20th, dead August 10th, right? So look at this. January 20th. What year was that? 2019? Yeah, 2019. 2019, August 10th. He was dead. He was dead the weekend of Tisha B'Av. He died 202 days after his birthday. Skull and Bones has gematria of 201 and 202. And his full name, Jeffrey Edward Epstein, equals 322, which is the number of Skull and Bones. Keep in mind, 202 is the area code in D.C. A lot of rituals with these two numbers, 202 and 322. They did it in a big way in Colorado with the King Super shooting on March 22nd, and then they said that, they counted the last victim at 2:02 a.m. And then when I drove through Colorado, I noticed exit 202 is Yale Street there, and I said, go figure, because again, Yale's where Skull and Bones is. But here's what I want you to see. That means he also died 163 days before his birthday, right? And look, Jeffrey Epstein in the most simple cipher is 163. That's the 38th prime number. The 38th prime, that's the death number, 38. And you see how death's also 97? Brotherhood of Death. That's the nickname for Skull and Bones. And it's got gematria 97 like death, 83 like murder, 187 like Society of Jesus, like the homicide code. Again, all of this stuff goes back to the Catholic Church. And the Jesuits are Catholic and Jewish. Of course, Epstein's Jewish, but again, he died Tisha B'Av, which is the weekend to remember Jewish tragedy. And again, he just throw his middle name in there. Jeffrey Edward Epstein is 322, like Skull and Bones. It's also 218, like Holy Roman Empire, which is another also 187. And again, they say the Holy Roman Empire folded August 6th, 1806, the 218th day of the year. People say Epstein was likely CIA. Wouldn't that make so much sense with the 20/1 birthday and the well-coded out name? Again, it's probably not even his real name or his birthday. But this is a guy who's propped up, inserted into the media, and used as a distraction. Keeps you from saying who the real pedophiles are of the world. Just like my man Fake Mike Real News. Who I don't mean this is any disrespect if you're out there watching. It's just I'm trying to explain to you why you need to get more on board with the knowledge, because you don't want to be like the rest of the truth community, kind of being led astray and spending all your time on Epstein, and because that's just a waste of time. Epstein's a nobody. Another Jesuit puppet. You don't want to say that Oklahoma City was the work of the Clintons, because they obviously were a major part of it, but that's not who it was the work of. It was the work of the Catholic Church, and completely synced up with the Pope. And you know what? The only thing I forgot to uncover in this is how it's linked up with the Superior General, but I'll save it for the next broadcast. Again, the world needs to get behind this knowledge. And again, grateful for all the people coming out wearing the T-shirts, holding the signs. And everybody who came out inspired me. But if you see the young girl holding the sign that says "Learn Gematria," she's only 19 years old. She's 19. Like her mom said, she's an old soul. Her mom's right next to her with the GematriaEffectNews sign. You'd think they're sisters. But like she said, her daughter's an old soul. And she was. I mean, she was way ahead of her time. She was full of knowledge and wisdom and had this bubbly, beautiful energy. I mean, truly a person beautiful inside and out, mother and daughter. And I was trying to explain to the daughter like how rare she is, because there's not a lot of young women that are into this research. But God, if we could get young women into this research, along with that would come a lot of young men. Women have very persuasive powers over men. And I mean, you can see the group there. There are women there, but there's mostly men there. And but yeah, I mean, just everybody. But fake Mike, real news. Yeah, right, the Matrix. I know a lot of you guys also say, like, you like to watch my channel because I'm good at explaining the work. But honestly, everybody who has a truth channel should at least sometimes bring up Gematria, because they're just such simple examples. ABC 1, 2, 3. Bridge collapse equals 128. Fern Hollow equals 128. On 128, 12 months and 8 days after Biden became president, the bridge collapses in Pittsburgh, the infrastructure city, while he's there to talk infrastructure. And not to mention, I called it dead on a month and a half before that. I said, watch, bridges will start collapsing to promote Biden's infrastructure bill. And then it was exactly synced up 45 days after I said it, because bridge equals 45. And the reason I said it that day is because there was a huge ritual with Steph Curry with his Golden State Warriors uniform with the bridge on it, when the Warriors are originally from Pennsylvania like Biden. But anyway, from sports to news, there's just so many examples where all you got to show somebody is ABC 1, 2, 3, the most simple cipher, and how the news was scripted. Affordable Care Act equals whatever it does. Obama's back at the White House referring to Biden as the vice president jokingly, or was it jokingly? Exactly that many days. Here, let's see what Affordable Care Act is. I forget what it is, but Affordable Care Act. 121. So Obama was at the White House 121 days before his birthday to promote the Affordable Care Act. Emmett Till, 129, 201 in base 8 counting. Biden creates the Emmett Till bill 129 days after his birthday, 129 days before Obama's upcoming birthday, when Emmett Till was supposedly killed while Biden was 12 years and 9 months old. You know what I mean? There's so many simple examples day after day. Slavery, 102 in the most simple cipher. What happened this year on the 102nd day of the year? On the anniversary of the Civil War start, we have a shooting in a subway blamed on a black man while we have a black mayor. And Civil War, Underground Railroad shooting, subway shooting on the anniversary of the start of the Civil War. You don't see the mockery. I mean, it couldn't be any more obvious. And remember, Brooklyn, New York, in the most simple cipher, 223, it was 223 days after Eric Adams' birthday that Brooklyn shooting happened. And then, of course, Brooklyn won their basketball game that night to get into the playoffs, and there were 223 points combined in the game. And, you got Eric Adams blurting out 33 shots fired and then getting the shooter 30 hours later. Again, it happened on the 102nd day of the year, right? 33 shots on the 102nd day of the year, and then they get the shooter 30 hours later. Police, 33, 102, 30 in the most simple cipher. If that's all you could present to your audience, that would be enough, because now you've showed them there's this thing out there, there's this code, and all you got to say, and you won't be lying if you say it, if you use this knowledge, you'll see through every news story, every political action, every government vote, every rigged election, every rigged sports game, college and pro, day after day. Day after day. We're walking on the University of Oklahoma campus, and they have a big thing up about the Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma going back to 1983. And that game in 1983 was the 83rd game all time between those two teams back in 83. And they start the tribute right there at 1983.
No one walking by on that campus knows a thing about why until we walk by and show them. And how many times have I talked about football in '83? Peyton Manning, face of the league for many years, born on the 83rd day of the year. Tom Brady, face of the league, born on 8-3. The greatest QB draft class ever in NFL history, they say 1983. John Elway, who now oversees the Broncos, whose stadium caught on fire on the 83rd day of the year this year on Peyton Manning's birthday. You can just go on all day. But again, thank you to everyone who came out. Thank you. And September 11th, 2022, New York City, we're going to take the momentum right there. We're going to wake that city up in an even bigger way. Maybe we'll do something before then. Sweet lady's on board. And she told me what I should do is I should figure out how to rent a big room so that, if we want to gather and hang out and stay together like we did this time, we have a space for us. Not a bad idea. If somebody in New York wants to look into a big space, here's the deal. Over the course of the weekend and the time I was there, I would guess that at least 100 people came out and engaged. They weren't all there at once, but there was probably at least 100 people. And New York City is a lot bigger place than Oklahoma City, so I think theoretically, especially if we get other channels promoting it, I could see us easily having 1,000 people there gathered to get out the message we're trying to get out. I think we could easily have 1,000 people on New York City, and hopefully way more. I mean, really, the whole country should be there because everybody needs to stand up for what really happened that day. We're all being taken down the gutter, You guys should have seen me bowl in Oklahoma City, man. You never seen so many gutter balls, but I always sucked at bowling, and I hadn't bowled in forever, and plus I was exhausted, but God, I'm sure the trolls got the footage. They're like, what? He's a shill and he sucks at bowling. But anyway, these people are taking us to the gutter, and we got to stop it, you guys. We got to stop it. We're only going to stop it if enough people stand up. Again, it's that thing that no one rules if nobody follows the rules. And the problem is people are following rules made by bad people that are taking us all to a bad place, which needs to stop. But anyhow, let's take some calls. Only call in, please, if you went to Oklahoma City or you're Chris Emery and you want to call in today. I do believe he's watching this stream. I'm getting text messages for people who are there. Sorry, I haven't opened up the phone line yet because I've been rambling on. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to open up the phone line, and let's hear from the people who came out to Tennessee. I said Tennessee because I just saw a text message from Lee in Tennessee. Shout out to Sean and Lee, both who came down from Tennessee. The line is now open. It is the number on the screen to call into today's show. It's not the same number as TFR. 509-560-4982. Let's hear from the truth seekers. And by the way, if you do go to Oklahoma City, there is a very nice, healthy restaurant in there. They specialize in vegan, alkaline foods, Cafe 420. Oh, hey, by the way, you guys, the masks being overruled by the Florida judge, the youngest ever judge appointed, that just happened to happen on the day that the mask came off was on April 18th, the day that hip hop album came out. Remember, the same Jesuits run your recording industry. It's all planned. Future mask off. What's up, Lee?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you so much for coming out to Oklahoma City.
Oh, you're very welcome, man. It was a blessing to come out. It was amazing. It was magical. I can't describe magical. I don't even know what to say. I'm still buzzing off of it, for real.
And you came out to Dallas, too. Dallas was another good experience.
Absolutely. It was all just, I don't even know how to put it into words, man. It was just great.
What do you think about New York, September 11th? Can you do that?
Yeah. I'm definitely going to be planning on being there if I can help it. You know what I'm saying? As far as I can, I want to be there. So.
Okay.
If physically possible, I will be there in the flesh.
For people who are listening right now, this man on the phone, he saw me get into some trouble with the guards at the memorial, and he decided to leave early. He got down there early, which I really appreciate. In this picture that I have up on the screen, the tallest gentleman in the back, Alex, shout out to Alex. He was another great dude who's got the piece up in the middle in the back. His left shoulder, to the right of him is Corey, who's a great man. The black man to his right is Corey. Shout out to Corey. To the left in the ball cap is Lee, who we're listening to right now. So, oh shit. Oh, come on. Somebody called in and hung up instantly, so I accidentally hung up on Lee. Hold on, I'm calling Lee back. But yeah, this restaurant right here while we're getting reconnected. Lee, you there? Lee? Uh-oh, now we're having connectivity issues. All right, we'll take another call while we wait for Lee to call back. Sorry, Lee, I didn't mean to do that. 917?
It's Angel Baby, Zach. How are you?
Angel Baby from New York to Texas. Doing well. How are you?
New York to Texas. I'm good. I'm nursing my sunburn still from being out.
You should see me. It looks like it's raining from my head. I've never burnt my scalp before, but sweet lady gave me a real close haircut before I went down there, and man, it did not pay off because I should have wore a hat. I've never burnt my head before, but man, I got hair, or what do you call it? Dry skin just peeling off everywhere.
Hats.
Looks like I have the worst case of dandruff.
Yeah, I have perfect sunglass tan line, and yeah, all of us. But it's a small price to pay.
Indeed it is. It was worth it.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Zach, for coming out and bringing all of us together. This is my first time meeting you in person, but I implore everybody who has not made it out to an event yet, to a meetup, make it a point to. New York would be an amazing one for all of us to make it and come in huge numbers. But the energy of us gathering together, when I say literally magic, there is nothing like it. Truly nothing. And the synchronicities that keep popping up are absolutely amazing. So I'd like to share one, Zach, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
The whole Dallas thing coming from Oklahoma City, that was like kind of done on the fly, like literally last minute. Zach was like, yeah, let me think about it a bit, and cool, let's go. Whoever can go. Whoever can pop up there. We paged, Neo, all that, and it just came together pretty perfectly. But toward the end of the night, all of us, once again, sun's going down, we're hungry, we're tired. We were trying to think of, a place where we could all eat and chill out for a bit before everybody parted ways. That still had, vegan options for the people who needed that, like Sean. So where did we go first? We all got our cars. We all went Deep Ellum. That's what it's called. We all drove about 10 minutes away to a Deep Ellum area of Dallas. All parked our cars. All struggled to find parking, pay for parking. When we must have walked this strip back and forth, up and down for a good hour because all the places were closing to serve food. And then we finally found another place that was open 24 hours. We get there, eat, hang out, blah, 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 blah. The people that were left over hanging out at the end of the night, remember, Zach, when you were giving everybody their books that didn't get them?
Right.
Remember Erica's book, how it lined up so perfectly?
That was crazy. Yeah, I told that story in a video.
And you grabbed that exact book.
Yeah, exactly. It was... There were just so many weird synchronicities, and again, it's to me, it's that sign that we're on the right path. And the other weird thing about that is that book was supposed to go to somebody in New York, so to me, it's a sign that that's the next place to go to. We need to be in New York.
Right. You said that book, you would sign it for somebody named Eric, and then Erica was standing there, and that's the book you grabbed for her.
Right. Exactly.
That was awesome.
And for people who don't get it, again, they spell their name almost the same way. He spelled his name E-R-I-C. She spelled it E-R-I-C-A. I wasn't able to get the book to him because the post office kept rejecting his address. I tried to send it 3 times, and then I just gave up and refunded him, but I'd already signed the book for him, so I hadn't given it to anybody because it was signed for Eric. But then I was like, wait a minute, this book was made to be signed for Erica. So
right.
That's what happened.
You can't make this stuff up. You can't reproduce it, nothing. You just can't. It's amazing. But again, I don't want to keep you too long. I know other people want to call in. Again, thank you, Zach. It's so nice meeting you. See you soon. And I will be sending Sweet Lady something for graduation. Tell her it's from all of us. And thank you for, letting you come out and take the time and so close to her graduation. And I hope to meet her soon as well. I hope to see her in New York.
Well, she will really appreciate that. So thank you so much, Angel.
Absolutely.
And again, it was a pleasure to meet you. And thanks for getting sunburnt with us and everything else. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Peace. Love everybody. Later.
All right. Take care. I got to call Lee back because I hung up on him by accident. That was messed up. And I see fake Mike Real News in the channel. Welcome to the community. You just got yourself a wrench. He's my new favorite YouTube personality. Needs his own Netflix special. Lee, I can't hear you again. Man, now we're having some kind of connectivity issue with Lee. Lee, call me back. I'm not going to get off this stream until I get your call again. Yeah, again, for anyone who's out there who was part of Oklahoma City and wants to call in and say something, that would be awesome. Let's see, we got Florida on the line. 352.
Yes, Charlie from Biloxi, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Zach?
Yeah.
Oh, good to talk to you. Listen, I saw you guys live out of Dallas, man. That Daly Square is awesome. I was there like 4 years ago for a JFK assassination conference. Man, it was awesome. All those great authors who's been researching the assassination for the last 40, 50 years. It was great. Listen, I'm from upstate New York. I want to give you guys a heads up regarding New York City. You're going to pay like $60 to go over a bridge or under a tunnel. It's going to be crazy, extremely expensive. And also, it's an election season. It's going to be crazy. It's not going to be, there's the potential of violence 1 month before the election is going to be crazy.
I appreciate it. Hold on. I'll come back to him. He wasn't actually there, and it sounds like he's trying to discourage us from New York. What's up, Lee?
Hey, Zach.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Can you hear me good now?
I hear you. What's going on?
Okay. Oh, not a whole lot. Trying to get a little caught up on my rest. That was great though. It was worth the energy for sure. We all had a good vibe. People walked up to us. They talked to us. We didn't have to get in their face.
Right.
That was amazing.
Right. And that's what happens when you have a group. We had a big crowd. People were just like wondering what this group was about. It was hard to tell what the group was about because we were diverse. People had to come find out. So
we were emitting positive vibration, and that's what was magical about it. And we weren't able to be put in any of the mainstream boxes, the narratives that people assume. That word assume that we were, and that. I think it really blew their minds how just diverse, age, color, it didn't matter, background, religion. We didn't see any of that. We were just there for love and the right thing. So, Indeed
we were. And what was sad is, it really does show. It's a battle of good and evil. And evil is at that museum. That museum, from what I understand, is truly like recreating the evil. It locks you in a room for a moment, and you have to hear the explosion. And then you see, evil people didn't want me on the campus. They didn't want me to come bring some light there, and they were worried about me possibly telling other people in the museum about what I knew. And they even said that to me in plain language. They said, we had a meeting about you. We knew you were coming from Washington State. We were worried you'd get in here and start promoting your stuff. And it's just like, okay, so you don't respect the First Amendment. You don't respect free speech. You don't respect a researcher. You don't respect that I drove here 30 hours to be here. And and not only that, they didn't respect my body. I was getting shoved around just from trying to go through the front door. Come on. I didn't even do anything.
You pay your taxes. I pay my taxes. We all pay our taxes. Everyone should have access to that place peacefully, right? Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, going to Dealey Plaza, on I-35, and JFK, the 35th president, and what else? Catholics, 35, is that right?
Yep.
And I think I talked to you a little bit about this, like on the drive over, seeing the numbers that you see on the interstates. And I thought about the word, the etymology kind of interstate, and that's your inner state, right? You see what I'm saying? Like your inner state.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So we were on that interstate, and we were bringing knowledge, basically data, down these interstates that are basically like, wires in a computer, let's say, or a circuit, whatever. We all came together, brought our energy there. It was data being moved from location to location to this one central point, right?
Right.
And that's what we did, and it was amazing.
It really was. It really was. And for years I've been saying there's something about the way they number the roads and they connect, and it is so obvious. For the 35 list, again, Catholic is 35, Holy See is 35. The Roman way of spelling Jesus, Jesus, is 35. And remember, I is 35, and again, Jesus' birthday on 12/25, square root of 35. The and Jesus wept is from John 11:35. So it's very clear. I mean, you think about it, those are two of the nation's biggest tragedies, aren't they? JFK and Oklahoma City, and they're right down the road from each other on Interstate 35.
And then next stop, Ground Zero. So let's all go. We really need to push and get everybody we can out there,
100%. Yeah, right. The Matrix is trying to call in, and he's in New York. Okay. So let's talk to him and see what he has to say about.
Shout out to him. Shout out to the Matrix. Shout out to Fake Mike Real News. Everybody, just love y'all. Awesome group, man.
Indeed. Thanks again, Lee. Really appreciate your effort, man. Thank you.
You too.
All right, take care. Yeah, right. I missed your call, but I'm going to call you back. And I think the last guy who called him before that, he wasn't part of the group. Oh, well, he'll call back. The caller who I just cut off before, the reason I cut you off is because you weren't at the thing, you didn't follow the direction, and then you were just throwing out information for why not to go to New York, and in light of the way feds follow me around and harass the community, you were feeling like one of those feds. So, in second thought, please don't call back. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, right, the Matrix.
Hey, what's up, man? Peace, everybody. Just wanted to call in, man, and thank you for putting this whole thing together, man. I mean, to be honest, we can't. Everybody said everything that I was gonna say anyway about the energy, the magic. I can't even put it into words. And one thing I did talk about on my channel was this moment when the ones that are pretty much. This is the bottom level you can go in the truth, basically. And once we get out, it's going to be something that no one's ever seen before. And, we all witnessed that, and it's just the energy, man. It was just amazing. I'm still, vibing off of it, trying to get some rest. I'm sure you are too.
I got a good night's sleep last night. I feel all better. Just my voice is still a little bit off, but I feel all better after getting a good night's rest at home. So,
yeah. So, I just wanted to thank you, man. It was it was a pleasure meeting everybody. It's still every day. Every day it's been flashing in front of me of how crazy it was. The synchronicities, everything just lining up perfectly. It was awesome, man. And, I got to put this in there. For all those that talk shit about Zach and say that he's this and he's that, this guy worries about everybody. And it stresses, almost to the point where it stresses him out. Because there were some people that were having trouble getting there. There was some little hiccups. And when I tell you, Zach wanted to make sure everybody got there, was safe. People can say what they want, man, but to meet you in person and to see, you're that guy that is just worried about everybody. It's just really amazing, man. So your trolls can piss off. Honestly, I didn't even know how many trolls you had till my channel got deleted, and I had to go resubscribe to all your channels, and I saw the troll page. I'm like, there's like hundreds of these people. So they can kiss my ass, and it's pretty amazing, man. So,
and it should be a sign to everybody. There really is a lot of resistance in the world. If you guys have never been on my Patreon page, it sucks because the trolls own the page. They post like 1,000 comments a day, And they do it to make sure that there can't be any, conversation in the community. People can't share information. They're just there harassing the whole time. And it's just like, I get down to Oklahoma City. I've never been there before. And I find out that they're having a meeting. I mean, they don't want what I'm teaching, what this community is about. They don't want that information out there. And they want this to be stopped, which is all the more reason more people need to stand up and help out. I mean, I think honestly, man, I got more trolls that watch a live stream than I actually do have supporters, sadly. And the thing is, I mean, we are exposing the power structure, and they do not like this being exposed. They have more reason to watch than the masses that are like on the fence and like, oh, I don't really get it, and I'm not sure they're doing this. The people who are doing this know that they're doing it, and they know that I'm exposing them. So we need the rest of the people to catch on and help out with the exposing and standing up against it. And until that happens, I mean, we're gonna continue to be taking down the same path we're on, and that's what everyone who showed up in Oklahoma City doesn't want to see, and that's why we were there. So we need more people, though. That was the only thing missing. It was great, everyone that came out, but really there should have been 1 million people there. So
yeah, I agree, and a lot of it is fear, to be honest. Because for me, hey, I'm at the point where honestly, there's no excuse. I mean, there is excuses, but most of us really, let's keep it real, could make it. But it's just other things that, people are iffy. I get it, but to be honest, I mean, if you look at our reality and what we're headed to, I mean, look what's going over in China, right now with all this, this COVID shit coming back. It's coming back here. So for me, there's no excuses because we're pretty much at a point where we got to start, doing something. And,
I want to say something. This is right, the Matrix. If you guys don't follow him, he's the handsome man who's in the front of the picture here that I have up on the screen. And he really thinks the time is now to go to Mexico and get land and build a community and have food. And I'm on board with that plan. There's some things about Mexico that worry me a little bit in terms of what's coming. And I can't decide if it's smarter to stay in the U.S. in a warmer climate. Like I think it's Arkansas or Alabama that has the longest growing season. One of the women said go to Hawaii, but Hawaii, man, if shit pops off, Hawaii'd be dangerous because that's a military strategic island. But
Hawaii is a beautiful place, but to be honest, when you really dive into it, the indigenous people want their land back.
Sure.
And they're having a huge, they're actually at a battle with the U.S. government, but they do want their land back. And, I mean, for me, it's and obviously you're trapped there and, you got to fly there. The only reason why I say Mexico is because this is something the path I've been on for a very long time. And, through a hiccup in my life, I was actually on my way there, but, things change. But it's still my mission because I look at my lifestyle. Everybody is different. For me, it's feasible because of the way I live and eat. And I look at the climate. I look at how far your dollar can go. I look at their government. I look at their constitution. I study their constitution. I look at, the history of that place. And it's like, okay.
You can't own a gun there, though. You can't own a gun.
Yeah, I get.
That puts you. See, that's the scary thing about the cartel. If the cartel wanted what you have, you wouldn't have any way to defend yourself.
Yeah, but you got to get down there and talk to the people about the cartel, and then they're really, to be honest, if you're not bothering them, they're not bothering you. Their mission is the drug trade with the United States, and that's what they do. So, it's you got to research, and figure out, what's best for as far as South America. I know people in Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua, Belize, but those are crown, countries. And, Mexico's not. So that's why I looked at Mexico. The reason why I don't want to be in the United States is because, I mean, it should be evident, but hey, we got to come to that realization. But that's just my thoughts. We could all have our thoughts and, put our heads together and figure out what's best,
I agree. I think the other thing we might want to look into doing, because the other advantage of Mexico is you can get a lot of land for a tiny price. I was imagining if you could get 100 people to pitch in $10,000, that's $1 million. For $1 million down there, you can get a lot of land. A lot more than 100 people could live on that.
Yeah, a lot more.
And
you can buy land with already fruit trees, vegetable trees. I mean, natural water. A lot of the land is, most of where I'm looking at is all off-grid anyways. It's all solar. It's all groundwater. It's all septic, that goes right into the river. it's more natural. I mean, the fruit varieties, the vegetable herb varieties is amazing down there. So that's what I look at. And also, by having all those resources, you have an outlet for, making a dollar, through organic, natural, stuff that you can freeze dry, you could dehydrate, and you could ship it, you could do all kinds of stuff. So, that's what I look at. And, the people down there, they're welcoming. Like I said, if anybody wants to learn more about it, go to the Facebook pages, go to Moving to Mexico, go to Expats in Mexico, and go to Living in Mexico. There's probably over 100,000 people that follow those, and they'll give you all kinds of information. And they're already living in there, and nobody regrets going there. So, and then there's more new people every day. I see new posts of people selling their house, retiring, going straight there. The healthcare is cheaper, dental is cheaper. It's not a third world country anymore. So, and I look at a lot of those things. So that's what I look at. And I look at my own backyard here in America. I love this place, but we're surrounded by zombies. We're surrounded by a government who clearly, unfortunately, we're the target. I mean, we got to know we're a target. So they don't like us homeschooling. They don't like us, because we don't play the game. We don't do the, we don't follow the agenda. So, and I know, and most of us all know, we're a target.
Indeed. And really the time is now. So I think, we need to talk about before September 11th, but if the same group comes out for New York and even more people, I mean, maybe that's part of the idea. We see if we have resources to form some kind of trust,
right,
and put our resources towards a project and create a real place that people actually could go to and be part of a community. The other nice thing about Mexico is you don't really have property taxes. So that's a big...
And you could drive there. So you don't need a passport. You don't need anything. If you're going one way, you don't even need ID.
You can drive to Mexico without a passport?
Oh, absolutely. You drive to Mexico, you can walk to Mexico without a passport or ID, anything. They don't hinder you on the way in. Read the Mexican Constitution. They stand by that.
Okay.
And I tested those waters. I did a live stream. A lot of people on my channel know I did that. Walked right into Mexico, the entire family. Didn't ask us for anything. So, it's just, that's the way it is. So, I'm looking forward to New York, but, my personal opinion is love is contagious, man. And, if we can possibly do another one before that, that'd be monumental.
So what's the date and the place? What do you see? What would be a good?
I'll let y'all sit back and let you organize that, and we can all talk about a date. Say, hey, look, I can make it, you can make it, he can make it. That's a start, and I'm sure more people will, try to get out. That's just my opinion.
All right, one more thing. That you're in New York, the guy who was just trying to call in, who wasn't. See, right away when the guy called, I was like, "This isn't the guy who was there." And then right away he gets into all the reasons we shouldn't go to New York. What were you hearing any of that he was saying about how expensive and all the problems?
Yeah, man. Listen, it costs. It don't cost that much to go to New York City. I mean, yeah, they got tolls, but it's not. I just came from New York City before I came down there. It's not like that. I mean, you're gonna have to spend a fortune, and you're gonna have to do this and do that. Fuck that guy. If this is going to happen, the energy, the universe, God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whatever you believe in, will line it up so you can get there. You just got to take the path. We all seen it. A lot of people were like, Angel Baby, she told me last minute, she was like, and it's just like, she just boom, just had to go. And it was and we all agree, each and every one of us was there. This was one of the most greatest things that honestly I've ever been involved with,
It was really great. I mean, because it really is. It's an energy thing, and it's just being around. I mean, what people don't understand who weren't there is there was no awkwardness. People were just able to connect like they knew each other. I mean, it really did feel like a family gathering. Just have conversations.
It was basically family. And then when you leave, it was like, shit, I feel bad. It's like, damn, like I really wanted to go to Dallas, but I'm like, man, that's a long way for me. And, I had to get back to take care of some things. I got my boys are like, I wish I would have took them, and shout out to Teresa and Samia. They were great. That's what made me like, I should have brought my boys because they're around the same age. And, but I didn't know what to expect. So me being me, I just like, I'm going to go myself. But
well, next time.
Yeah. But hey, I'm gonna let you guys let some other the brothers and sisters get up on here and tell their story. Hopefully, it inspires a bunch of people to come out next time, because the damage we did, the look on the people's faces when we were walking through the arts festival, and even the police, it was just like a look of total loss, because they're so programmed. What they saw, they couldn't figure it out, because we didn't fit into any of the mainstream narrative. It was just simply amazing, man. And then a plus was Paul, was that his name, that was recording? Doing the video, like he's doing the documenting, right? He had the brother from, where's he from? I don't know where he's from.
Oh, you're talking about Craig from New York, or he's from New Jersey?
Oh, okay, Craig. He was doing the filming, right?
Craig's gonna put. Okay. Craig said about in a month he'll have a film for us.
Okay, I think Craig should come again, because
he will. He's in New Jersey. He's gonna come.
Yes, that also has them confused, because you know what? We look more professional, and people want to engage us. We didn't have to do anything. We didn't even have to really hold no signs, because everyone came up to us. It truly was amazing, and so I'll leave it at that, man. It's just hopefully more people come out next time, because could you imagine 100 or 1,000 or more than that in New York City? Come on. So.
Indeed, I think we can easily get 1,000 people on September 11th. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So let some other people get in, man. Zach, I appreciate you. Everybody that was there, man. It was amazing. I feel like I left my family. So, peace and love, man. And talk to you later.
All right, friend. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for being there, yep. And thanks for calling in.
Yep.
All right, take care. I want Fake Mike Real News to call in, and anybody else who was there. With regards to how it was hard to say goodbye, it was true. I felt bad. I tried to give everybody time, but there was a lot of people to talk to, and there's some people like, shout out to Richard Quinn. I spent time with Richard Quinn. We even got to do a little hot boxing, but I wish I got to spend more time with Richard Quinn and a number of other people, and his friend Frank and Rob. All three of those gentlemen were awesome. And Frank, by the way, man, it was great to meet you in person, because you are really well spoken, and you're a great asset. And I think you need your own YouTube channel. And Rich, I think you should get on YouTube too, because Facebook, it only gets so much. YouTube sucks as well, but I think you'll get more exposure on YouTube. But it was hard to say goodbye to people. And in Dallas, we were standing in the middle of a parking lot till 3 a.m. and I know a lot of people had to work the next day. And people just didn't want to say goodbye. And finally, I just said, you guys, I got to go, man. I'll never get home. I got to leave. I got to drive so far, just 3 a.m. And anyway, I did get home, but it was like we didn't want it to end. It was a really nice experience. And just the other thing that it was funny to me is there's so many people who came out to the event who never leave a comment, who don't post anything, who don't call into the shows, but they're out there and they're following. And I thought that was interesting, because I'd say that was probably true of at least 80% of the people. They don't comment or post or call in, but they wanted to be there. And, RPM Trey and his cousin, they were awesome. I don't think that they really comment. Yeah, it's hard for me because you guys are on the screen. It's hard for me to point to certain people, but yeah, if you can see he's like on our right looking at the computer screen, everybody's actual left, but he's got a hat on and glasses. If you remember, big, strong young man. When I was out pounding pavement in Yakima, he called into the TFR show and he said, hey, I just set up a YouTube channel and I'm out with my megaphone pounding pavement in my community. He drove out from California. But that was everything cool. Everybody there represents all corners of the U.S. People came out from everywhere. So we had a really diverse group in terms of all backgrounds, locations, and so. And maybe that's why some of the people who came out to Oklahoma City, they're not calling in right now because they don't normally comment or call in. But hey, they're out there. So. I also think, you guys, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think next year I'm going to be back in Oklahoma City for the anniversary again. Maybe next year I'll get into Memorial, or next year we'll have an even bigger turnout. But I really do want to turn this into a thing where, maybe at least 4 times a year, there's a big meetup, right? Every season, at least 4 times a year on a big anniversary date. And I realized next time I go down to Oklahoma City, I got to come in through Waco. Just do all of Texas. Do Austin, Waco, maybe even Houston. There's a lot of things to go. A lot of things have happened in Houston. Go down there and talk about how they got froze out of their boots. Valentine's Day, and remember who called it? Who said that they were going to turn out the power grid and crazy shit was coming on that Valentine's Day? Again, from this knowledge, you can even see when they're going to fuck with the weather. And I just do the whole run of Texas, I think, next time. So I should have done better planning. I just knew we were going to Oklahoma City, but I should have looked at how close it was to other major cities like Dallas. And it was a good thing we went to Dallas because, Dallas has good energy. And, of course, people are going there looking for truth because of the whole JFK thing. And we're a group that's got to be in spots like that because we got answers. We got information like nobody's ever heard before. Oh, by the way, first of all, shout out to the sisters. I got my aloe vera plant right here, which I've been using. And I'm gonna find out what's on this USB. At the JFK site, there's a man who sells USBs for $20 with supposedly, information that's hard to get anywhere else. But he's also got the shot from above with the trident right there, and I want to support him out. We got to meet a street poet, too, down in Dallas. I had to give him a $20 bill, too. Wish I was a millionaire. I would have given him more. His poem was good, but anyway, if we don't have more calls right now, we can leave it right there. I will be doing TFR this Wednesday. Will I do the Sunday night show tomorrow? Possibly. I do want to do it, but I got to spend time with Sweet Lady, too. I've been gone for a while, and we're not spending time right now because she had to work today. But tomorrow she has off. So tomorrow on the Sunday night show is a play-by-ear thing. Definitely TFR Wednesday. The next TFR show the next Wednesday, we're going to have Chris Emery on, which I'm looking forward to. And right now we got young Ben calling us. What's up, Ben?
Hey, Zach, how are you?
Hi, Zach.
Hey, we got Ben and Natalie. Hey, I think we. By the way, so this is a truth seeker couple who met through the community, and it's been great for more ways than one. Natalie's being saved from the tyranny of Canada, taking shelter in the less tyrannical United States right now with young Ben. But I think Chigozi's got himself a new Sweet Lady through the community too, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, what are you two up to?
Well, we're hanging out now. We've been listening. What I've started doing, Zach, is I've started recording your live streams through StreamYard, and I really wish I had thought of it on that live stream you did on the 19th, because I used Zoom instead, but Zoom sucks, and like the whole thing, I caught you from like the very beginning all the way up through right after you got done talking to the Oklahoma University journalism head guy. So I had all that, but there's like no sound, and there's all choppy. It's like a frame by frame thing. So really all it is proof that it happened. It's not really a useful footage, but I did the same thing with the Dallas video on StreamYard. So I have a real video of that in case they take that down. And I'm doing the same thing with this one, too, because I had a feeling this one was going to be an important presentation. But, yeah, I wish I had thought of StreamYard before the 19th, because I just woke up and I went all the way back to the beginning of the video, like 2 hours in, and just started recording it. But unfortunately, it's not very good. But
I appreciate the effort. And for people who don't know, they took down Yeah Right the Matrix's whole channel who was streaming the event. They also took down my video, and it made me mad when they took down my video because they said they took it down for a copyright violation when all we're doing is talking to people on the street. I mean, and what's annoying is you guys have seen before where I'm doing a live stream and I play a song and then it pauses the live stream until you stop the song. So I mean, ask yourself, why did they have to delete the whole video? Especially since there wasn't even anything going on. They just didn't want people to see the positive interactions, the way we schooled the police, the way we engaged with a major focal point of the community, the guy who's one of the founders of CNN, as he said, and who runs the School of Journalism there at University of Oklahoma, and just all the other engagements and all the other voices. I mean, they just took it down because essentially what we were doing was modeling something that they don't want the world to think is possible. They want people to think that if you're into conspiracy, you're a weirdo, you're a loser, you're a crazy person, you're a fanatic, and there was none of that in our video. It was just a bunch of, intelligent people, doing something that was very positive, and so they had to take it down for that reason, which is disgusting. But that's what these people are evil, and that's what makes me mad about all the people who sit back on the sidelines, who don't do anything, who just watch, who criticize. Again, you're allowing evil to flourish. Essentially, again, it's that quote: all it takes for evil to do its thing, essentially, is for good people to do nothing. And if you're a good person, you shouldn't be doing nothing. So. Anyhow, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. So, I personally wish that I could have come to Oklahoma City. It looked like a blast. Everything from, the museum. I know that the museum wasn't the best place to go to security, but the what you guys did in front of the museum, talking to the police in front of the church, talking to the OKC Thunder guy. And by the way, the YouTube edited out the guy, the OKC Thunder guy being thrown into the unmarked car. Because all I saw was, even
we'll have that in the video. Craig's got that all captured on video, so it will be out there eventually. And I'm sure, unfortunately, when we have our little Gematria movie from it, I'm sure they'll censor and ban that too. But we'll get it up on BitChute. People will be able to find it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to start putting your videos, I'm going to start whatever videos I can record. I'm going to record them and put them on Odyssey. But yeah, so what was I saying? So I'm just thinking, if people like the OKC Thunder guy and other people involved in professional sports really don't have anything to hide, and that it's all authentic, then why would he need to be picked up?
Exactly.
In the back of an
for people who don't understand. Corey, who was in Oklahoma City with us, who lives there, he spotted that the Oklahoma City general manager who runs the NBA basketball team was on the corner. He said, Zach, you got to go talk to him. So I walked over there and I said something like, hey, good morning. Is it true that you're the general manager of the Oklahoma City Thunder? And he said, I am. And as fast as he said that, the police just swooped in, grabbed him, escorted him into a car that pulled up, and they just drove off. And I mean, it all happened in 10 seconds or less. I could hardly get another sentence in. And then I said to the officer, I was like, what did you need to do that for? And I can't remember what he said, something stupid back, but yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, if this was a high-ranking, if this was all authentic and the news was authentic and everything was authentic, we're raised to think it is, if a high-ranking, guy, or what's the word I'm looking for? A man with a lot of prestige, I guess, is having a casual conversation with somebody on the street and then gets picked up by the police and thrown into an unmarked car. That would spark a big controversy if that were to happen. It'd be what were the police doing for this high-ranking official? I mean, it would have sparked one of those, I don't know, I guess those defund the police chants that they always like to do. But we know what that's all about. So but it's just so it's you're right. It's they're the ultimate example of how much of puppets these people are. So
it really was, because he couldn't even choose what corner he wanted to stay on and who he had a conversation with. It didn't look like he was going to run away from me, but the police just came in, grabbed him, and threw him in a car and got him out of there. And it was just come on, man! I only wanted to ask him if you knew about how rigged the NBA was. So
yeah. Well, I just have one quick note I want to point out to you. Well, actually two, but I think I'll say the best for last. So the first one was the thing about the 109s, the bombings on the 109th day of the year, and then the memorial started being built on 10/9 when military is 109, and how McVeigh was former military.
Right.
And the other one, and this is something you haven't touched on, the building was officially demolished after the bombing on the 23rd of May, 95. 23/5, how the Masonic compass is kicked out at 23.5 degrees each way.
Yeah.
And the tropics are 23.5 degrees above and below the equator. And how the Masonic temple is on the grounds of the memorial.
That would have been 48
you know,
days after it happened, too. And again, Clinton was 48 at the time, Illuminati 48, so yeah.
Well, it would have been 34, May
What?
23rd.
Isn't that, wait, I thought, I was thinking it happened on the 95th day of the year. Never mind, 109th. Yeah, 34 days later, or a span of 35 days. Okay.
Yeah, the Catholic, right? So, the 23/5, in light of, and it's also 5/23, like the 99th time, like how the CIA director from Oklahoma left office a span of 99 days before the bombing. So, but yeah, and they show, and I watched a Nobile Lie, even before you guys met Chris Emery. I watched it with Natalie a few days before you guys went there. Yeah, and the dog. And not that he went on, but they show the demolition of the building from May 23rd, 95, and no surprise, it looks exactly like the way the Twin Towers came down on 9/11.
Of course it does.
So, of course, because, we know what that was all about. But another thing, too, Zach, and I know Chikozy briefly mentioned this to you because I was watching his live stream when you guys were out at the bowling alley. Since you're coming from, the west of Pennsylvania to come to New York, I'm right now in town. It's north of Philly. I live pretty close to the New Jersey border, and if you want to stop in on the way here, and I'll tell you what, the New York City is expensive, but New Jersey is also expensive, but it's a little cheaper. And the NJ, you can take the NJ Transit, and New Jersey has its own transportation system. You can take the NJ Transit into Penn Station in New York. Of course, if they reinstate mask requirements, obviously that's not going to work out. But if masks are still optional in September, that would be something that you could. That would be something to consider. Just because, there's a whole bunch of stops in New Jersey that go to and from Penn Station in New York, and the train ride would take like less than an hour. So if that's still a possibility, that's just
well.
An idea.
I definitely want to check out more than just New York if I'm back there. So yeah, that'll happen. So I appreciate it, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that's all I have, and that goes for anybody else. Let's see. September 11th is a Sunday this year, so it could be a nice little weekend thing. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it works out. We still got a lot of time, but yeah, just an idea for sure. And thanks for taking my call. And I hope to see you in New York in 5 months.
All right.
Me too.
Appreciate both of you. Anything else you want to say, Natalie?
It'll be an early birthday gift because my birthday falls on the Friday of that week, September 16th.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the 16th. And trying to think, is there anything else I wanted to say? I don't think so. I think that's it for now.
We'll leave the Guy LaFleur decode for later.
We'll talk about that on TFR. This is about Oklahoma. So. Yeah. All right, Zach. Thank you very much, man. Have a good day.
All right. Yeah. You too. Take care.
Shout out to everybody who went to OKC.
Indeed.
Shout out to everybody who went to OKC.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
It looked like a lot of fun. Goodbye.
347. 347. 347. I can't hear you. We can leave it there for now, you guys. It's been a good stream. We got the information out. We heard from a few of the people who came out. Well, hold on. We got one more call. This could even be fake Mike Real News because it says Rhode Island. 401.
Yeah, what up, Zach?
It is. It's fake Mike Real News. Hey, man, thanks for coming out and thanks for calling in. Speak your mind.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to you, man, for doing this. This is like
what the truth movement, quote-unquote truth movement, has needed for a really long time. I mean, we weren't even doing stuff for a long time before COVID, then COVID hit, and we couldn't get anything going. So this is really inspiring, and I'm really glad that you took it upon yourself to do this, to get out here, pound the pavement, and all the wonderful people that you brought along, too. You just created a whole new network. And I just wanted to say thank you. I'm looking forward to maybe doing something before September 11th. But if everybody doesn't already know, September 11th, 2022, I created a Facebook event for it. It's on my Facebook page, Will Turbit, Turbitt. A lot of the other people have been sharing it, so try to get that around and spread it. But, yeah, I just wanted to call in fast and thank you, Zach, for taking the initiative and having the bravery and leadership to start doing this. Because, people are stagnant for a long time.
Well, you're very welcome, and I'm glad you were a part of it. You were a huge asset, and it was great to meet you, and I'm following your work now. And since you're new to Gematria, did you see the presentation I gave today?
Well, on and off. I started watching a little bit, and then I just finished off my haircut. So I was gonna go back and twist up something and rewatch the presentation, because I heard you might be breaking down some Epstein stuff, but I was watching at the beginning, but I had to take a break to go over and get a haircut.
Okay, I did touch on Epstein for you, so.
Hey, I got a question for you, right? The Matrix. Are vegan breadsticks good the day after? Let's hope so. Fingers crossed.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Zach. Keep up the good work. Everyone go check out September 11th. And Zach, if you get a chance, if you could, I try to make you a moderator or a host to that Facebook event, too. So it's on my Facebook page. And God bless you guys. And I love everybody that came out and supported. Hopefully we get 10,000, 20,000. If we pull this off right, we could have a lot of people. So everyone join us September 11th, 22, non-violently.
Hold on. What's the Facebook page?
It's on my Facebook profile, which is Will Turbit, Turbitt. I sent you a friend request. Yeah, it's under my Facebook profile. It's the first thing right there. It's also on Quinn's Facebook page too, as well. But yeah, just join up there. Tell everybody that's like one of the main links. I don't know how many co-hosts we can have, but I remember you mentioned just put that shit together, stuff together, and so I just threw it up there like the day afterwards, and I'm gonna start interviewing some people and talking to some people. I've been making some calls to auditors and truthers, and hopefully we already got a few truthers that said that they're on board too. Titus Frost says he's all about it. Dan Badandi, he wants to help. So I'm gonna start calling the rest of these fools too.
Okay, I see my mom's already linked up. My mom's on the page. Okay, all right.
Yeah, Zach, what are you waiting for?
I'm on it too. I'm in here.
There. Come on.
I did it. I'm here. So.
All right, awesome.
All right.
Great, and yeah, man, I just want to say thank you one more time, Zach, and let's keep this movement going, guys. Let's stay nonviolent, and let's share the information so we have a big turnout September 11th.
Indeed. All right, appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. All right. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there for right now, Truth Seeker. And again, thank you to everyone who came out. And next thing I do is I got to study my Vedic astrology. Again, the beautiful sisters who came out holding the Gematria signs, they brought me a nice packet of information on Vedic astrology. So the young one, she's only 19, but in terms of knowledge years, she's like 1900. But she thinks if I study the Vedic astrology, we're really going to take it to the next level. So I'm going to be doing that in my spare time here. And hold on, we got a call from Oklahoma. I can't end the stream without taking the call from Oklahoma. 580?
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
Hey, thanks for calling in.
This is Paul.
I thought so. Paul brought the two amazing 201 finds, Richard Snell and Robert G. Millar. Thank you.
How you been?
And by the way, I got to say, you've redeemed the name Paul for me. Like I couldn't think of any Pauls that I really liked in my life, but now you won't ever hear me say anything bad about Paul anymore. Now I met the Paul of all Pauls. So.
Well, I appreciate that. Hey, whenever you get a chance, check your Facebook messages. I sent you a couple more things and some more 201s and stuff that I found.
Okay. Is it okay to check it live on the stream?
Yeah, that's nothing bad.
I'm guessing, okay. Oh, yeah, I got to look more into the Denver equals 68 too, where they had the trial. That's got to be part of the reason they did that here. Okay. Yeah, I see the links.
Yeah. And then, in 83, whenever Richard Snell was going through his stuff in Arkansas, Clinton was the senator then, or governor.
Okay.
Of Arkansas, whenever he was going through that, and then he was the president whenever McVeigh was in.
Right. That makes sense. I see. Yeah, really good connections. All right, I'm going to research all that more. But yeah, that again, it doesn't make any sense that they would have the trial in a different state, but Denver does equal 68, so that's part of the ritual. And Denver, I think, had a lot to do with 9/11 because NORAD's out there, and so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Denver airport and all the shit that's in it, so.
Right. Well, brilliant finds. I mean, and again, Paul's the definition of why I always say there's always more, because he showed up the morning of April 19th and had those 201s, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, there's a guy who plotted to blow up this building, and his name's 201, and he gets put to death by the state on that day. I mean, come on. So.
Yeah, it was mind-blowing for sure, bro. I just wanted to call in and say hey, and I think the wife wants to say hey real quick.
Of course.
Hello.
Thank you to you and your husband for both coming out. You guys were definitely two of the bigger highlights, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I was going to tell you about the Catholic Bible. So all Bibles are Jesus wept, but in the Catholic Bible, it says, and Jesus wept.
Okay. So
it's a Catholic. My mother gave me a Catholic Bible. I don't even know. For some reason, after we came home that night, I looked at this Catholic Bible. I never really even looked at it before. And I looked it up, and yeah, that's what it was.
I see. So in the Catholic Bible, it is. Well, it makes sense. And again, just to remind people, when you run the alphabetic order verse, Catholics 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. There's also 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. Look how nicely it's coded in the language. So.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
I just appreciate that you took this call. I appreciate you back.
Well, thank you so much for making the trip, and I'm really glad it happened because, again, we saw all the beautiful things that can happen, just people coming together and sharing of information and just taking it even further. So thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, you two. Have a great rest of your day. I look forward to the next time we meet up. Thank you.
You too. Be safe, brother.
Yeah. Same to both of you. Thank you. Yeah, again, you guys, I mean, for the people who would like to be there, but you have fears, that you're going to get thrown into the database, again, I'll tell you what, you're probably already thrown in a database. And you know what? That database is only going to serve its purpose for as long as these tyrants are in power. And the only way they're going to come out of power is if we stand up and do something about it. And again, if enough people stood up, if enough people found their courage, their inspiration, their willingness, I'm telling you, it's the end of them. There's a lot more of us than them. We got a call from Oklahoma City, too. I got to take this one. 405?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
What's up? This is DJ New Improved, man. Brock.
Yeah, you swung by. I do remember. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I just want to appreciate it, man. Just thanks for coming by, showing love to OKC.
Of course. And thank you for coming by.
Out.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I thought I'd just call in, man, show some love back.
I really appreciate that. Thank you for coming and talking to us, man. It meant a lot. Thank you.
All right, I'll let you get back to business, bro.
All right, man. You have a good one.
All right, take it easy.
Take care. Yeah, he came out. He was there. He was right there when we got censored. And there's a lot of people that aren't in the photo who came out. I'd say maybe half the people who came out are in that photo. We didn't have everybody there all at the same time. Some people came out on different days. But just as a warning on Facebook, I was able to accept Will's Facebook request in real time, because the way my Facebook is like, I don't know if people's accounts are getting deleted or if they don't want to be the friend anymore, or Facebook unsubscribes people. But you can only have 5,000 Facebook friends at a time, and I'm usually really close to that 5,000 line. So there's like 1,000 people in my Facebook queue that have requested, and it's not that I didn't want to accept their request. It's just, I'm like capped out at 5,000. I don't know why Facebook puts that max on 5,000 anyway. Like, what's the point of that? Why can't you just have as many people as you want to have on there? I guess they only want you to get out so much information at once or something like that. But anyway, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, I do post on here as well. And yeah, I got up the photos here. If you guys don't recognize the people in this photo, we got Vitamin Steve, who made a big appearance in Oklahoma City and Dallas. A lot of people know Vitamin Steve by name now. Sean from Tennessee, who went to Oklahoma City and drove even further with us south to Dallas. Of course, that's Neo the Hacker, Jeremy White, JHW3D. We got Wesley. Hold on, I'll do the rest of the people, but we got a call from Ireland. Ireland, what's going on? Ireland, you're on.
Hello?
Hello, yeah, you're on.
Is it you, Zach?
It's me.
Sorry, I was just listening to on YouTube, and I guess it's delayed. You're still talking.
It's on delay, yeah, it is.
Else, so I didn't realize.
It is.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Look, I just want to say I do tune in once in a while. I'm calling from Ireland, so it's away from the issues that you guys have. But it would be nice to have some other people from Europe to, I don't know, to support or to contribute to what you're doing, because I don't believe it's, America is in the center of the world. So it would be nice to see some other people who would, who would have their spin on what's going on in your place, because you're talking about Canada and Mexico. And there are other, there are people in Europe who, say, live in France and they are thinking about moving to other parts of Europe. So that's my input. So I don't know much about domestic American issues. So, but I do tune in, and I think this pattern is international. I don't think it's unique to America. So I was just wondering if there are more people who, and I think you did have your own website with your own like a social group at some point. I'm not sure if it's still there.
It is free2findtruth.com. Free2findtruth.com. Again, the purpose of that website is to help people organize and network in their own community, and there are people on that website in Europe. So.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's really from the YouTube that from the the callers and from the comments that I couldn't see it, but yeah. Okay, so it's fine. So it's there. I was just curious about how your videos inspire others either to call in or to to more actively participate. So the website it's a kind of a to me it's more a backup platform than an active platform. But that's just my opinion.
Okay. As for just, were you trying to make the point that you would also like to network and organize and possibly find a community in Europe for essentially people who are concerned about what's going on in the world?
I would probably have to. I think I'm probably still registered on the website, so I'll probably go back and have a look what's going on there. No, I was just I'm not really looking to organize anybody, but when I heard that what you said, there's about 80% of people who are kind of, they never comment, they never call in, but then they do show up. That I think that there is I think it could, I don't know, it could be a psychology of people that they, that they choose different ways to engage.
Sure.
But I'll probably go back now to the website and see what's going on, and then maybe there is something local going on. But I just think that since you're the one behind it, that I would hope that there are. Not that I would hope, but I was just genuinely curious about because everything is happening in waves in America or in Europe, and I think the war in Ukraine that I think that's going to synchronize both Europe and America. Until then, there was a kind of a buffer where things didn't need to happen. Europe was more, it was more kind of dealing with Middle East and with Eastern Europe and with Asia, and America was dealing with South America and Asia, and Africa was was dealing just with China. But I think in the next half year, we're going to see more synchronization of events, of all kind of, I wouldn't call them false flag operations, but I expect to see more synchronization of all kind of events between Europe and America.
Sure, absolutely. It's been happening already, but yeah, even more, no doubt about it.
Just the last thing. There's a date that keeps coming up, and it's not coming up from any news, it's just in my own head, but I just wonder if that has any significance, since you mentioned lots of dates and lots of numbers, so maybe some kind of got stuck in my head. The 19th of September, does that have any significance in anywhere or from any point of view?
Well, I remember it was a few years ago. Let me think. It was 2018 was the last time I circled that date, but I said, watch, there'll be a mass shooting on September 19th, 18. And not only was there one, there was two in the United States on that day. And the reason we knew that was going to happen is because 19/9 is like 199, the 46th prime, and chaos is 46, and the Latin for order out of chaos, ordo ab chao is 46. And you see those numbers show up in false flags all the time. We ended up getting two that day. There was one in Masonville. What was it? Masonville, Wisconsin or something? And there was another one in Pennsylvania, or maybe it was Masonville, Pennsylvania. There was a shooting in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania that day, two of them. And I'll have to look at it this year. Let's think. This year it'll have 70 date numerology. As we know, that's a big number with coronavirus, 70. And it has the 46 connection, and that's the virus alone. Coronavirus 70, virus 46. So, yeah, we'll probably get some big COVID news this year on September 19th in the ongoing Order Out of Chaos script. So that's right as fall's about to get underway. It's the tail end of summer. And, of course, Fauci said it could be very serious this year in fall. And I'm sure they're saying the same crap over there in the UK or Ireland, wherever you are. But
well, there's one thing, since you mentioned Corona, and I know it's a toxic subject to discuss. But I mentioned it to a few people. Ireland is the only special thing about Ireland in connection to Corona is that most of Ireland is used for lots of American companies at the headquarters for tax purposes for Europe, right? So there's lots of pharma companies based here, including Pfizer. And there was a news recently, it could be 2 days ago, that they announced it here, but actually it's made in America. They say that they're gonna work on universal vaccine, and it was some kind of army research facility in America that is going to take care of all the cold and all the variants and everything. And I think that through the summer and by September, by the school season, that could be the new thing. That could be just kind of a hybrid product. That would combine Corona and anything else you want. You can have a combo. You can have a Corona and cancer. You can have Corona and arthritis. Corona, and if you feel like domestic terrorists, they're gonna have vaccine for that as well. You can have any type of vaccine. So I think it was a significant news, but I don't know how significant it was in America that they're working on They just finished the testing on animals, and it's the next stage is humans. It's called universal vaccine, and they keep calling it moonshot, which is another very interesting name.
All right. Well, I'll look into all of it. Interesting thoughts, and you'll probably be right about something coming on September 19th because it's got the Order Out of Chaos in the date, and that's kind of the thing. So, all right, friend.
Okay. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay.
You have a good one. Take care. So I just going through the roll call here. Again, I guess you guys can't see exactly what I'm pointing at, but the man up front, like if you're looking at the picture, on your left, if you're in the picture, it'd be his right, but your left, big man up front, that's Vitamin Steve. Again, he pounded pavement with us in Oklahoma City. Right behind him is Sean from Tennessee. You know, even though it was further out of his way from Oklahoma City, he made the trek with us to Dallas. And I mean, the man's a true leader, Sean. You know, you just see those people have leadership skills. We had a big group. At times it was hard to, you know, like figure out what the next right move was because so many people want to go this way and so many people want to go that way. But Sean would be like, oh, I got the plan right here. Just follow me. Take you right there. People were getting fatigued. He had all these different nice herbal, you know, powders for energy, you know, keeping people, you know, supplemented. I mean, Sean was an amazing asset. And, you know, I never knew Sean was out there. I don't know if Sean leaves comments or not, but, you know, you do an event like this and you get a Sean and a Vitamin Steve and everybody else who showed up, and you just find out all these amazing people that are in the community. Of course, Neo the Hacker, right behind him. I'm sure you guys recognize Neo the Hacker. He's standing next to Jeremy White. You guys are likely subscribed to his channel, JHW3D. Pounded payment with me in Louisiana. Drove all the way out from the Dallas area. Hold on, we got another call. Atlanta?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I was calling to see if you had said anything about the Miguel Cabrera 33rd person to hit 3,000 hits.
Oh, he finally hit that milestone, huh? So, when did that happen today?
Yeah. I think it happened last night.
Well, yesterday was the 112th day. Is he still playing for the Detroit Tigers?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're the Tiger?
It reminded me of your video about the New York subway shooting, about the 33 shots or something like that.
Okay.
Because they were referencing the fact that he was supposed to get, Miguel was supposed to get his...
Tigers equals 33.
3,000.
Tigers 33, right? He's the 33rd player to get to 3,000.
Uh-huh. But they kept referencing the fact that he was supposed to get the 3,000 hit against the New York Yankees, but he didn't because they intentionally walked him.
I see. So what team did he do it against?
What was that?
What team did he get it against?
What was it? The Marlins? No, was it the Marlins? I don't know. I forgot. It was I forgot.
I'll look it up. I got to get on top of everything, so I'll look it up and do something on it. But yeah, I get him being the 33rd. I know Tigers is 33, so.
Just wanted to throw that in there, man.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
All right, going through the roll call. So that's Jeremy White with the white hat in the middle. JHW3D, brilliant man. Again, drove out to Louisiana. Next to him is Wesley from the Dallas area as well. Then you got the beautiful sisters with Angel in the middle. Then you got Erica, who's with Vitamin Steve. And then you got Blake throwing up the piece in the middle. And then that was the Dallas crew at the end of the night. We had even more than that, but that's who came out to eat with us. 646.
Yo, what up?
Hey, what's up?
Yo, you coming to New York for real?
New York, September 11th. We're coming.
Yo, I'm going to be there. Yo, I got an interesting find. In the playoffs, right? Remember that 213 number?
Uh-huh.
NBA Finals?
Uh-huh.
Chris Paul's birthday is 2 weeks and 13 days.
Okay.
From the start of the NBA Finals.
Okay. That could be the clue.
And they're the number one team, Phoenix Suns.
I heard Devin Booker got hurt. Is that true?
Oh, I don't know.
I got to look it up, but I'll look into that. The Suns had that huge ritual picking up that 54th win in their 54th season on a Sunday, the day the bracket came out for March Madness. So, yeah, I'll take a look at that.
NBA Finals start June 2nd. His birthday is May 6th. 2 weeks and 13 days.
Okay. I'm going to check it all out.
I'm gonna call you on Wednesday for the TF4. I got a lot to say, but I saw you on streaming. So I thought I'd call, man. Have a good one, man. I saw the stream get taken down too. The dude had the guns and all that. That was crazy.
RPM Trey Vietnam. Yeah, subscribe to his channel. He's gonna do good work too. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to sign up for the truth, redefine truth, and post some breakdowns too.
All right, I look forward to it. Thank you, friend.
You already know. Have a good one.
All right, yeah, you too. Take care. All right, so this is RPM Trey Vietnam. Him and his cousin came out from Iowa, and This guy is really well spoken, you guys. I mean, he just speaks perfectly. He speaks right to the point, very clearly. Again, and he's just a good male example. He's healthy, he's strong in more ways than one, physically, mentally. And the hardest thing going in his life right now is he's got a son. I believe he said his son's around 18, and his son's kind of looking at him like, even though he's always respected his dad, just because his dad's getting more into the truth thing and looking into the conspiracies that are really taking place, his son's kind of looking at him like a conspiracy theorist. And, that's breaking his heart. And again, it's a reminder, it's hard to be a parent in this world because if you're a parent, it's not just you're an influence on your child, but there's all the other influences in the world, the TV, the programming, the news, the school. And we know what those things are doing. Those things are mostly not having a good influence. So anyhow, RPM Trey Vietnam, he had a big following on Facebook. He said Facebook deleted him and that crushed him because he lost so much hard work and it made him want to quit. And I was just saying, yeah, man, you can't quit because then they win. That's what they want us to do. They want us to quit. So he's coming back. I believe he's posting in more places than one. But again, you listen to this man talk. And again, if you're out there, RPM Trey Vietnam, again, I don't know if you live stream or what, but man, I think you should just things you came up and said to me. I think you should just record yourself saying those things right into a camera. People just need to hear it. You're right on point. So. Yeah, you guys, it was an amazing experience. He's right here in the center of this photo. You can see him. He's got his AR right there. They were. You can't see it in the picture, but they were carrying a sign that said "Hug a AR owner," which is funny. So anyway, I had to leave it there, you guys. I got someone at the door, and again, I'll be back soon. There's a lot to get caught up on. So